Chapter 2072. Plus, this pill was only useful when a mystic late phase peak was about to break through to the Earth class. The effect wouldn't be as great after reaching the Earth class, and the increase in strength would be very limited. So it was better to let Han Xiaope take it now. The effect of the lesser qi gathering pill wasn't as strong as the qi gathering pill, but Lin Yi had experienced it when he broke through from mystic late phase peak to the Earth class. That kind of torment was very painful for any practitioner, and Han Xiaope wasn't any better. But Lin Yi believed that this bit of difficulty was nothing to Han Xiaope. If he couldn't even get through this pain, then he'd have no future. When the qi around Han Xiaope thinned out, Lin Yi knew that Han Xiaope had completed his breakthrough. He was officially an Earth-class early phase master, stepping into the ranks of practitioners. As expected, Han Xiaope opened his eyes, surprised and happy. He reached out his hands in disbelief. "Boss, I'm an Earth-class early phase master now." "Earth-class early phase, of course." Lin Yi nodded calmly. This is amazing." Han Xiaope still felt like he was in a dream. "Boss, is this the legendary transfer of strength?" "You can think of it that way," Lin Yi said. "But remember, don't tell anyone about this." "I know." Han Xiaope nodded. "Even if Grandpa asks, I won't say anything." In actuality, Han Xiaope had gathered a large amount of qi around him when he broke through. This was the difference between his breakthrough and Lin Yi's transfer of strength. When Lin Yi transferred strength, he would use the qi, unless he used compressed qi to help someone break through. Normally, he wouldn't use qi when he helped someone break through. The spiritual energy that Han Xiaope had mobilized naturally attracted the attention of all the cultivators in the hidden Han family, especially Old Man Han, Han Tianba. However, Han Tianba rationally told his family not to disturb or ask about it. Regardless of whether it was Lin Yi or Han Xiaope who broke through, it would be beneficial to the hidden Han family, so why bother asking about it? As long as you don't speak nonsense, you'll be rewarded in the future. Earth class late phase peak and sky class is not impossible. Lin Yi said faintly, "This is the benefit of being my follower." "Yes, boss." Han Xiaope's eyes were burning with passion. Earth-class late phase peak. Or even heaven rank. This was a realm that Han Xiaope could only dream of reaching in the past. Now, it was no longer so unreachable. Above the Earth class, the only pill that can be taken is the qi gathering pill, but even I can't refine it now, let alone your family. Lin Yi said faintly, "Your aptitude isn't very good, so there's no point in continuing to cultivate by yourself. I don't think you'll make any progress, so if you have the time, you'd better study martial skills. As for your strength, when I reach a higher realm, I'll help you increase it again." Lin Yi didn't directly explain that his improved strength could no longer absorb heaven and earth qi through his own cultivation, but from the fact that Han Xiaope was still able to use the qi gathering pill, it was clear that the energy from the pill was still very effective for practitioners like Lin Yi. Lin Yi himself was also an example. Yes. Han Xiaope naturally believed whatever Lin Yi said. He didn't doubt Lin Yi's words at all. If his aptitude was good, would he still be in the middle phase of the golden class? So what Lin Yi told him was priceless advice. If he wanted Han Xiaope to study martial skills, then he would study martial skills. As for the matter of increasing his strength, that would be left to Lin Yi. But Han Xiaope was a little surprised. Even if Lin Yi could impart his strength, where did Lin Yi's pure qi come from? Why did it look like Lin Yi wasn't affected in any way? Or was he still as spirited as ever, without the slightest bit of pure qi loss? "You'll study the techniques tomorrow. You'll be on the stage with me during the double arena," Lin Yi said. "You just need to protect yourself, I'll take care of the enemy." "Okay, boss." I won't let you down. Han Xiaope was surprised and happy. If the hidden house of Han were to win another match, then it would be even more of a deterrent to those hidden families who were plotting against the hidden house of Han. They would be shooting themselves in the foot. Then which hidden house do you think is stronger in the duel? Lin Yi asked. I think this match is designed for the hidden house of Zhuang. Han Xiaope said. I heard that the two brothers from the hidden house of Zhuang have been training hard ever since they came back from the Ice Palace trial. They've also taken some spiritual medicine, and their strength has increased to mid and peak earth class. Plus, their martial skills complement each other, so their chances of winning are very high. Oh. Niao Zhuang. Lin Yi, naturally, knew about the hidden house of Zhuang. These two had been kissing Naipeo's ass during the Ice Palace trial, but when Lin Yi crippled Naipeo, they were begging for mercy and calling him Masterling. It was only natural that Lin Yi had some impression of these two pieces of trash. That's right. Han Xiaope nodded. Boss, you've heard of them. I've heard of them, but I didn't think that their strength would have increased so much. Lin Yi said with a sigh. Not at first, but I heard that the hidden house of Zhuang bought 2 qi gathering pills from the hidden house of Tang at a high price. Plus, the two brothers took a lot of spiritual medicine, so their strength increased by leaps and bounds. Han Xiaope explained. Hidden house of Tang. Lin Yi frowned. The name sounded familiar, as if he'd heard it somewhere before, but it didn't seem like he had anything to do with it. That's right. It's a hidden house as well. I heard that their ancestor was a disciple of the Tang sect, and they're experts in hidden weapons and poison. Han Xiaope explained. I'm afraid that this hidden weapon evasion match will be won by the hidden house of Tang. I don't know how the hidden house Zhuang managed to get the hidden house Tang to sell them 2 little qi gathering pills. Lin Yi was a little surprised. These little qi gathering pills had to be very precious. Chapter 2073. Needless to say, Han Xiaope was a very smart person. His guess was not far from the truth. This time, the hidden house's conspiracy against the hidden house of Han was indeed for the hidden house of Yu and the hidden house of Tang to monopolize all 3 rounds, and the price they had to pay was to give each of the other houses some pills. Identifying poison. Although this is a bit difficult, I'll reluctantly take it. Lin Yi laughed coldly and said, small qi gathering pills, let them give it up for nothing. Ha! No way, boss, you're good at poison too. Han Xiaope was surprised. I'm even better at detoxification. Lin Yi shrugged. Actually, I have another identity. I'm a doctor. Ha! Boss, you're too awesome. You're an all-rounder. Han Xiaope said excitedly, it seems like there's nothing you can't do. This is great, our hidden house of Han is going to be awesome. Those hidden houses can go to hell. Don't be too happy yet. You're already an Earth-class master. Tomorrow. It should be today. Choose a martial art to cultivate. Since your hidden house of Han found the ancient ruins, there must be a lot of martial arts. Lin Yi said. It was already the morning of the second day. Both of them were practitioners, so they weren't sleepy. Although Han Xiaope didn't have the jade cultivation space to replenish his energy, he had just broken through, so he was full of energy. Then let's go now. Boss, you can give me some advice on what martial arts I should learn. Han Xiaope said, I'll go find Grandpa now and ask him to bring us to the treasure vault. That's good. I'd like to see your collection of martial arts. Lin Yi didn't hide his intentions. Alright, if there's something suitable for you, boss, you can make a copy. Han Xiaope didn't mind at all, as if it was supposed to be for Lin Yi to see. As they spoke, they walked out of the room and headed towards Elder Han's residence. Today was destined to be a sleepless night. Although Elder Han had returned to his room, he didn't sleep. Instead, he closed his eyes and fantasized about how the hidden house of Han would amaze everyone during the Hidden House Summit. They would make those who coveted the hidden house look at them in a different light and regret their decision. Xiaopa, the hope of the Han family rests on your shoulders. Han Tianba took a deep breath and sighed. I hope your judgment is accurate. Lin Yi will not disappoint us. Dang dang dang. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Han Tianba was slightly stunned. Who would come to visit at this time? It was the wee hours of the morning, so theoretically, no one should have come. However, Han Tianba did not dare to neglect it. He got up and went to the door, asking, Who is it? Grandpa, it's me, Xiaopa and boss. Han Xiaopa said. Hearing that it was Han Xiaopa and Lin Yi, Han Tianba hurriedly opened the door and said, Mr. Lin, Xiaopa, why are you looking for me at this time? Grandpa, what do you think of my current strength? Han Xiaopa was a young man after all. When he saw Han Tianba, he was a little impatient. Han Tianba was not Lin Yi. He did not have the golden finger that could tell someone's strength at a glance, so he was slightly stunned. He could not see anything special about Han Xiaopa. Xiaopa, what is your current strength? Grandpa, please take a look. Han Xiaopa chuckled and began to circulate his inner force. Although Han Tianba was prepared for Han Xiaopa to activate his inner force as soon as he saw Han Xiaopa, he knew that Han Xiaopa's strength would increase. After all, as long as one was a cultivator, their strength would increase regardless of their aptitude. But how much could one improve in one night? It was only because of the pill, so Han Tianba did not pay much attention to it. With Lin Yi beside him, he could not say much. He only smiled at Han Xiaopa. But when Han Xiaopa started to circulate his inner force, Han Tianba's expression changed from indifference to shock. He looked at his grandson in disbelief. Yes, unbelievable. Han Tianba thought that he was still in a dream. Early Earth class. Han Xiaopa's strength was actually early Earth class. Han Tianba did not think that Han Xiaopa could become an Earth class master overnight. Not to mention a small qi gathering pill, even if there were 10, it was hard to say whether or not Han Xiaopa could become an early Earth class. How big of a leap was this? But, Xiaopa, you're early Earth class. Han Tianba was the head of the house after all. He quickly realized that he was not dreaming. The truth was right in front of him. He could clearly feel Han Xiaopa's strength. Yes, Grandpa. Han Xiaopa nodded proudly. This is all thanks to boss. This. Mr. Lin, I did not expect you to be so powerful. This old man, thank you. Han Tianba was pleasantly surprised. He bowed to Lin Yi. The Han family had one more Earth class master. This was the best thing in the world. Especially before the Hidden House Summit. This was something to be excited about. It's nothing. I am an alchemist. Lin Yi said calmly. The things that Elder Han gave me are more than enough to make up for the value of these pills. Lin Yi was misleading Han Tianba on purpose, making him think that he had given Han Xiaopa a lot of elixirs to increase his strength, and that the little qi gathering pill was the final nail in the coffin. How is it, Grandpa? Boss is amazing, right? Han Xiaopa said proudly. Amazing. Old man Han laughed heartily. If that's the case, then we should have a chance of winning the duel. Although the Hidden Han family gave Lin Yi a lot of things, adding them up was more than the pills that could increase Han Xiaopa's strength from Golden Class mid-phase to Mystic Class late-phase peak. There was a saying that there was no market for it. Although the pills were not as valuable as the colored steel and the Qi gathering pill, you couldn't buy them. Whether it was the Sky Elixir sect, the Hidden House of You, or the Hidden Houses and ancient sects with alchemists, none of them would sell the hidden Han family pills to you. They wouldn't even sell the most common spirit-gathering pill to you. No matter how much money you had, it was useless. People were trying to stop the hidden Han family's development. These pills that could increase one's strength were naturally not something that could be exchanged for money. The materials for the colored steel and the chi-gathering pill were precious, but to be honest, they were useless to the hidden Han family. It would be a disaster if people found out about it. They might as well give them to Lin Yi. If the hidden Han family was done for, then they wouldn't be able to keep anything good. Chapter 2074. That's great. Han Tianba nodded excitedly. By the way, Xiaope, why are you looking for me now? Is there anything important? Grandpa, boss asked me to choose a martial technique. Han Xiaope said. Grandpa, please bring us to the library. Alright, we'll go now. Mr. Lin can give you some advice on what kind of martial technique is best. Han Tianba nodded. Han Tianba didn't mind letting Lin Yi have a look at the good stuff in the treasury. He could tell that Lin Yi wasn't a greedy person. Other than the colored steel, which Lin Yi wanted, Lin Yi didn't ask for anything else. The only materials for the chi-gathering pill were given to him by the Hidden House Han. Lin Yi, naturally, was interested in the Hidden House Han's treasury. It wasn't the treasures, but the manuals. The Hidden House Han had found an ancient ruin, and there might be some special manuals in there. For example, Feng Nitian, Zhang Naipeo. It seemed that every ancient sect had an extremely powerful practitioner's arts in their ruins. Lin Yi wanted to see if the Hidden House Han had something like that as well. The three of them arrived at the treasury together. There were 2 doors here. One was where the treasures were stored, and the other was naturally the scripture pavilion. This place stored the original copies of the mental cultivation techniques and martial techniques that the Han clan had discovered in the ancient ruins. Mr. Lin, this is the treasury, and that's the scripture library. Where should we go first? Han Tianba asked. Let's go straight to the scripture library. Lin Yi didn't need any other treasures, but he was looking forward to the scripture library. All right. Han Tianba nodded approvingly. It seemed that his guess was right. Lin Yi wasn't a greedy person. He wouldn't ask for an endless amount of things. He took out the key, passed the password and fingerprint verification, and opened the scripture library. However, upon entering, Lin Yi was very disappointed. In Lin Yi's mind, the scripture library was at least like a bookstore. There were many bookshelves filled with all sorts of practitioners' arts and martial techniques. What he saw now was a stone table with a few boxes on it. There were less than 10 of them. This is the scripture library. Lin Yi looked at the room in shock, speechless. Mr. Lin, this is the Hidden House of Han's scripture depository. It is simple and crude, and there are very few secret manuals. Our Hidden House of Han's resources are too scarce. Han Tianba smiled bitterly. These are the secret manuals of an entire sect. They are all here, a sect only has these few manuals. Lin Yi was shocked. The real big sects are very strict when it comes to accepting disciples. If you don't have the right physique and aptitude, you won't be able to enter these ancient sects to train. Moreover, these ancient sects don't have many cultivation methods and martial skills, so it's normal. Han Tianba explained. Oh. Lin Yi, on the other hand, nodded as he thought about the ice palace. Everyone practiced an ice practitioner's arts, and their techniques were probably similar as well. Inner disciples weren't randomly accepted either, so it was probably similar to the sects from the ancient ruins. However, Lin Yi was a little confused. Do the other hidden houses have so little cultivation materials? Not really. Han Tianba shook his head. Our hidden Han family's cultivation methods and martial techniques all come from the ancient ruins. The other hidden houses, on the other hand, get most of them from trading or buying. Some of them are copied from the ancient sects and ancient families that they're on good terms with. These hidden houses have much more history and resources than us. I see. Lin Yi nodded. It must have been hard on you guys to be able to train so well with just these few arts and techniques. Although there's the effect of the medicine, it's all thanks to your hard work. Maybe the heavens are blessing us to hide our Han family's bloodline and physique. It's perfect for us to cultivate the Heart Sutra in the ancient ruins. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to do anything with these treasures. Han Tianba said. Moreover, how many Heart Sutras do we have? There's only one. Among these books, there's only one cultivation method, the rest are all martial techniques. Han Tianba's answer impressed Lin Yi even more. Only one cultivation method, and these people were still able to train in it. It was enough to show how lucky the hidden Han family was. If I'm not wrong, Xiaopo's cultivation method should be of the wood element, right? Lin Yi said. Yes, it is of the wood element. Han Tianba nodded. What martial technique does Elder Han train in? Lin Yi asked. I'm ashamed, this old man trains in a very common wood element martial technique called firewood chopping art. Han Tianba said, this is the simplest of all the martial techniques, but even so, this old man can only use the first two forms. I can't use the rest. Oh. Lin Yi was startled. Han Tianba was a mid-earth class master, the same as the black-clothed man who attacked Su Shihan. In theory, Han Tianba could use at least 3 forms, and the black-clothed man could use the 4th form. There's no one to guide me, this old man has to rely on himself. Plus, I'm not very talented, so... Han Tianba said with some shame. Lin Yi nodded. Lin Yi knew this feeling very well. If it wasn't for the support martial technique and Faubert's guidance, his raging fire fist wouldn't have had much success, let alone fighting against the black-clothed man. Let me see these martial techniques. Lin Yi walked over and looked at the names of the martial techniques on the wooden boxes. This is the martial technique we train in, called Wood Spirit Technique. Han Tianba pointed to the wooden box on the side and said, and from this second box onwards are the martial techniques. According to the strength of the martial techniques, they are arranged from left to right. This second box is the weakest, and it's also the one I train in firewood chopping art. At this point, Han Tianba sighed in shame. Even without the guidance of a master, he can still train in martial techniques. Elder Han, there's no need to belittle yourself. Lin Yi said with a wave of his hand. Haha, Mr. Lin is too kind. Han Tianba said, according to Mr. Lin, which martial technique should Han Xiaopa train in? Chapter 2075. Translator, Mr. Voltaire Editor, Mod Lols 123. Lin Yi practiced the second stage of the art of dragon mastery. Could he also practice other skills besides the frenzy fist? Would he be a genius like the frenzy fire fist? Lin Yi was looking forward to it. Since it was an all-purpose skill, learning other skills should be a piece of cake. If Lin Yi could practice it himself, he could personally teach Han Xiaopa so he wouldn't have to take the wrong path. Of course, if Lin Yi couldn't practice this skill, then he probably couldn't practice the lowest level, chopping firewood. After all, this was a wood-based skill, and Lin Yi had practiced a fire-based skill before. Although Lin Yi didn't know what type of skill the art of dragon mastery belonged to, if he could practice a fire-based skill, then it should be a fire-based skill. However, he couldn't rule out the possibility of accidents. After all, the art of dragon mastery was known as an all-purpose skill. It couldn't be measured by common sense, this last one isn't a skill. Han Tianba smiled bitterly when he saw Lin Yi pointing at the last box. Not a skill. Then what is it? Lin Yi was taken aback. This is a book related to blacksmithing, Han Tianba said. However, I heard that blacksmithing was a profession from the ancient times. It's extinct now, blacksmithing. Lin Yi's eyes twitched. This hidden Han family really had a lot of good stuff. They even had a book on blacksmithing. That's right. This is also the most precious book that we found in the ancient remnant. However, with this old man's aptitude, I'm still unable to understand it. Furthermore, I don't possess the physique and abilities mentioned in the book. Can I have a look? Lin Yi asked, tempted. Of course. Mr. Lin, you can read any of the books here, Han Tianba said without hesitation. However, I'm afraid that the blacksmith's book won't be of much use. It is said that one must cultivate two elements at the same time. Only those who cultivate two elements at the same time can learn it. Oh. Lin Yi slowly opened the last wooden box. A thread-bound ancient book came into view. On the cover, the words, "Incomplete Scroll of the Art of Mending," were written. Lin Yi carefully took out the ancient book and flipped through it. Sure enough, there was an introduction to this ancient book at the beginning of the scroll. This was indeed a book related to blacksmiths, but it wasn't meant for blacksmiths to use. According to the introduction, blacksmiths had to cultivate metal, wood, and fire at the same time in order to become blacksmiths. The profession introduced in this book was not blacksmithing, but rather, it had the same origin as blacksmithing. It was called tool mender. As long as a tool mender cultivated both metal wood and metal mental cultivation methods at the same time, it would be enough. The so-called mending master was someone who couldn't forge their own divine weapons, but they could repair damaged divine weapons. For example, a third-grade cauldron damaged during alchemy, an ancient weapon damaged during a war, and so on. They could all be repaired using the method taught in this book. Of course, tool menders were the same as alchemists. They were also divided into first grade, second grade, third grade, and even higher. However, the reason why this incomplete scroll of the art of mending was called an incomplete scroll was because it only mentioned the repair methods of first grade to third grade magical weapons. As for third grade magical weapons and above, it didn't mention anything. It was not that there was no such method, it was just that this book didn't mention it. Similar to alchemists, tool menders also consumed a lot of true qi and physical strength. Moreover, it was very difficult to cultivate two mental cultivation methods at the same time. Let's not talk about whether or not one could successfully cultivate it. Even if one succeeded, it might not be possible to cultivate both mental cultivation methods to a certain level. Moreover, even if one cultivated to a certain level, there was still the risk of going berserk. Therefore, even in ancient times, the status of tool mender and tool mender was very respected. They were both positions that could only be held by geniuses. If he couldn't practice alchemy, could he be a tool mender? Lin Yi was somewhat interested in the incomplete scroll of the art of mending. However, Lin Yi had never seen any magical weapons. He hadn't even seen a third-grade medicinal cauldron. Would it be a waste of time to learn the art of mending? In any case, since Lin Yi saw it and was interested, he wouldn't let it go easily. So, he said, "Elder Han, I wonder if I can make a copy." "Haha, of course, no problem." Han Tianba said, "You can make a copy and keep the copy. You can even take the original." "That's not necessary." No matter how thick-skinned Lin Yi was, he wouldn't steal the original. Besides, there was no difference between the original and the copy. However, he wasn't in a hurry to make a copy. The most important thing now was to help Han Xiaopa choose a set of martial arts. So, Lin Yi pointed to the second last box and said, "Since that's related to tool casting, how about this one?" "This?" Han Tianba's face was slightly awkward, but he still said, "This?" "I'm afraid not. This one also won't work." Lin Yi was stunned. Is this not a martial arts skill, but something else? This is a martial arts skill, but it's not a normal martial arts skill. Han Tianba nodded. He had seen everything in the library once, so he understood every single one of them. Not a normal martial arts skill? Lin Yi asked curiously, what do you mean by not normal? Although this is the highest level martial arts skill in the ancient ruins, it's a support type martial arts skill. Han Tianba said. A support type martial arts skill. Lin Yi suddenly thought of the omnipotent martial arts skill that went with the art of dragon mastery. Was it a support type martial arts skill? Could it be that the hidden Han family had something similar? Yes, according to this old man's research, this is a replenishment type martial arts skill. It can replenish energy and true qi for the people around you, but it completely consumes the user's strength and true qi. It can be said to be a martial arts skill that burns oneself to illuminate others. Han Tianba said, although this martial arts skill can play a big role in a critical moment, it is useless during normal battles. Who would have nothing better to do to cultivate a martial arts skill that sacrifices themselves to help others? Unless it's a big ancient sect that trained a group of disciples who specialized in sacrificing their true qi to help their teammates when fighting against other sects. Chapter 2076. Recover. They've been cultivating for decades just for one burst of power. It's going to take a long time for them to recover. Han Tianba smiled bitterly. Moreover, these disciples are getting old. It's hard to say whether they'll be able to cultivate as fast as they used to. To put it bluntly, many disciples who used this technique died on the spot due to overexertion of their physical strength. Lin Yi sighed. This was a strange skill, but if it were a big sect, they'd raise a group of loyalists to the sect. These people could be used in critical moments against other core disciples, when their own side was exhausted. They'd be able to turn defeat into victory at the cost of their own lives. However, Lin Yi was wondering if he could use the energy in the Jade space to replenish his energy after the battle. Elder Han, I'd like to make a copy of this technique. Lin Yi said. Oh. Mr. Lin is interested in such a useless technique. Han Tianba was taken aback, but he did not object. If Mr. Lin is willing to study it, feel free to make a copy. But as for cultivating it, forget it. I don't think this technique has much use. I'm just studying it. Lin Yi said. That's good. I'll make a copy for Mr. Lin later, as well as the incomplete scroll on the way of artifact mending. Han Tianba said. Thank you very much. Lin Yi nodded. The third last box should be a normal technique, right? Of course it is. Han Tianba nodded. This technique is also the most powerful one out of all of them. It's called 1000 Transformations of the Forest of Wood. 1000 Transformations of the Forest of Wood. Lin Yi heard the name of the technique and was confused. What kind of technique is this? Forest of Wood. Literally, it means more and more. Han Tianba said. The higher the level of this technique, the more powerful it becomes. But the first few techniques are just the basics. Oh. What do you mean? Lin Yi asked. The first form of the 1000 Transformations of the Woods only increases the power of the fist, but the second form can transform one fist into two fists, one real and one fake, making it difficult for the opponent to distinguish which fist is the real one. The same goes for the third form, which can transform into 3 fists, all the way to the 10th form, which can transform into 10 fists. From the 11th form onwards, it's not just the fist, but the entire person. One person can turn into 2 people. The 12th form can turn into 2 people, and so on. Han Tianba explained. This martial skill is quite powerful. Lin Yi nodded. Based on the name, this martial skill might be slightly weaker in terms of power. However, after learning it, it could be used to launch a surprise attack on the enemy, achieving the goal of a sneak attack. Yes, but although it's powerful, it's extremely difficult to practice. After looking at it once, this old man can't understand it. Han Tianba said. Xiaopa, I'm afraid it'll be a bit difficult for you to practice this martial skill, right? Yes, boss, with my aptitude, this martial skill, without someone to guide me, I don't think I'll be able to learn it in my lifetime. Han Xiaopa knew his own limits, so he didn't try to be arrogant. This martial skill 1,000 transformations of the woods and the firewood chopping skill. Make a copy of both and try to practice them. Lin Yi said. Whichever one can practice it, we'll practice it. Okay. Han Xiaopa nodded. We'll listen to boss. The three of them didn't hesitate. Each of them took a pen, ink, paper, and inkstone and began to make copies. The 4 secret manuals were quickly copied. After keeping the 2 that Lin Yi wanted, he took the other 2 and returned to Lin Yi's residence with Han Xiaopa. You should study this firewood chopping skill first. Since Elder Han has practiced it, he should have practiced it in front of the younger generation, right? Lin Yi asked. Yes, every year during the new year, Grandpa would show it to us to motivate us to practice harder. Han Xiaopa nodded. Okay, you try to practice it first. I'll study this 1,000 transformations of the woods. Lin Yi said. Yes, boss. Han Xiaopa didn't even think that he would be able to activate the martial arts technique on this one day. After all, after his grandfather entered the earth rank, it took him almost 2 years to activate the first style of the firewood cutting skill. After making arrangements for Han Xiaopa, Lin Yi picked up the mantra of the 1,000 transformations of the woods and studied it. After reading it a few times, Lin Yi understood the meaning of the words. Now it was time to see if he could use it. He walked out of the room and came to the courtyard. In the hidden Han Manor, the guest room also had its own courtyard. It was convenient for Lin Yi to use it. In his mind, he silently recited the mantra of the first move of the 1,000 transformations of the woods. Lin Yi began to use the first move according to the mantra, Ha. Lin Yi punched out, almost in one breath, without the slightest bit of hesitation or jerkiness. Boom! Lin Yi's fist smashed into the wall of the courtyard, and the wall collapsed. The power of the first move surprised Lin Yi. It was not inferior to the frenzy fist. Was it because he was familiar with it, or because this martial skill was originally a superior martial skill? Of course, what made Lin Yi even more excited was that his previous guess was confirmed. The martial skill he found in the cave was indeed the same as the art of dragon mastery. It was an all-purpose martial skill. In other words, as long as he cultivated the all-purpose martial skill, he could cultivate any other martial skill to the fullest. The wood attribute martial skill was as smooth as the fire attribute martial skill. It was as if he had used it thousands of times. The loud sound of the wall collapsing was naturally heard by Han Xiaopa. He quickly ran out of the room and asked in surprise, "Boss, what happened?" "Nothing, the power of the 1,000 transformations of the woods is not small." Lin Yi said, "Originally, I thought this martial skill was only used to confuse people, but I didn't expect it to be so." "Oh." Han Xiaopa's eyes widened in surprise, "Boss, you've already activated it." "Only the first move." Lin Yi said. "The first move. In such a short time, you can activate the first move. Boss, you're really a genius." Han Xiaopa was full of admiration. What was a genius? Lin Yi was a genius. Chapter 2077. Genius. Lin Yi didn't deny it. He thought to himself, you haven't seen the real genius. He lives right next to me. Yes, he's a genius. Han Xiaope nodded and said excitedly, Boss, are you also a wood element cultivator? Hee hee. Lin Yi smiled and didn't answer. Lin Yi didn't know what element he was cultivating because the first 2 levels of the Art of Dragon Mastery didn't mention which element it belonged to. However, Jiao Yazi did mention that it was a universal technique. Could it be a universal element? Boss, can I cultivate the 1,000 transformations of wood forest? Han Xiaope asked expectantly. It shouldn't be a big problem. Lin Yi said, I'll study it a bit more. Okay. Boss, study it. Han Xiaope said. Lin Yi nodded and began to recall the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th forms of the technique in his mind. He also simulated the moves and activation method of the technique in his mind. After familiarizing himself with it, Lin Yi tried again. 1,000 transformations of wood forest, 2nd form. Lin Yi punched out, but the fist seemed to split into 2. Lin Yi's target this time was another wall. Boom! Boom! This time, there were 2 loud noises from the wall. Another wall collapsed. This time, however, the power of the punch was much stronger than before. What surprised Lin Yi even more was that the 2nd form wasn't like what Han Tianba had said, where one punch was real and the other was fake to confuse the opponent. There were 2 punches, and both were real. The 2 loud noises were the evidence. The area of the collapsed wall was much wider than before. In other words, the 2 punches were real, but Lin Yi only punched out once. Thinking of this, Lin Yi excitedly began to ponder over the 3rd style. Han Xiaope, on the other hand, was staring at the collapsed wall not far from Lin Yi with a petrified expression. It wasn't that he felt sorry for the wall. If it were him, he would rather tear down the entire courtyard, as long as he could land 2 punches like Lin Yi. The 3rd style. Lin Yi once again successfully activated the 3rd style of the Wood Forest 1,000 transformations. Boom! 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 This time, there were 3 loud bangs, and the other wall of the courtyard was also turned into ruins. At this point, other than the front gate of the courtyard, the walls on the left, back, and right were all destroyed by Lin Yi. Furthermore, the destructive power of each attack was greater than the previous one. The loud bangs in the courtyard had already attracted the attention of the other people hidden in the Han family. However, these people knew that this was Lin Yi's residence, so they didn't dare to go forward and investigate. They only quickly notified Grandfather Han. With Grandfather Han's status, he could come over to see what was going on out of curiosity. However, when he approached the courtyard, Lin Yi just happened to activate the 4th style of the Wood Forest 1,000 transformations. Boom! 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 4 loud bangs sounded, but this time Lin Yi didn't hit his target, and all 4 punches hit air. Even so, it was still 4 loud bangs that tore through the air. As for the 5th style, Lin Yi didn't try to practice it. Lin Yi hadn't even practiced the 5th style of the Frenzied Fire Fist. Studying the Wood Forest 1,000 transformations didn't have much of a chance of success. Moreover, Lin Yi mainly wanted to study it on his own before teaching it to Han Xiaope. Han Tianba looked at Lin Yi, who was not far away, with a face full of shock. What kind of technique was this? With Han Tianba's eyesight, he could naturally see that this wasn't the firewood chopping skill. Since it wasn't, could it be the Wood Forest 1,000 transformations? However, in such a short period of time, how could Lin Yi learn the Wood Forest 1,000 transformations? Moreover, this was a wood-based martial art. Was Lin Yi a wood-based cultivator? With a stomach full of questions, Han Tianba didn't want to disturb Lin Yi. This was because he saw Lin Yi's body move again. The Wood Forest 1000 transformations: first style, second style, third style, fourth style. Boom. Boom boom. Boom boom boom. Boom 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 boom. His movements were as smooth as flowing water. It was only 4 punches, but they brought with them a power that could only be achieved by 10 punches. This martial art was not ordinary. Phew. Lin Yi took a deep breath. This martial art was not ordinary. Although it looked like 4 punches, the amount of stamina consumed was not an ordinary amount. After practicing it twice, Lin Yi's stamina was already showing signs of drying up. He was so tired that he was sweating profusely. He couldn't muster up any more strength. Of course, although activating martial skills also consumed physical strength, the consumption in this situation was different from the consumption of true energy in alchemy. This kind of consumption could be replenished through rest, unlike the pure energy consumption of alchemy. With Lin Yi's stamina, he was already exhausted after using the Wood Forest 1000 transformations twice. If it were a normal person, they would probably only be able to use it once. But then again, for a peak early Earth class expert, it was already not bad to be able to use 2 styles. Without the 3rd and 4th style, it wouldn't consume such a terrifying amount of stamina. "Boss, how are you?" Han Xiaope saw that Lin Yi's face was a little pale, so he quickly asked. "It's nothing, just a little tired." Lin Yi waved his hand. This kind of stamina consumption could be replenished in the jade space for a while. "That's good." Han Xiaope breathed a sigh of relief. He was most afraid that something would happen to Lin Yi. If something happened to Lin Yi, then what would happen to the Hidden House Summit tomorrow? "I'll rest for a while." Lin Yi didn't say anything else. He sat on the stone bench in the courtyard, closed his eyes, and entered the jade space to recover his stamina. Han Tianba, who was watching from afar, saw that Lin Yi had sat down to rest, so he carefully walked over. "Grandpa." Han Xiaope was originally sitting on the stone bench with Lin Yi. When he saw that Han Tianba had arrived, he quickly stood up to greet him. "Xiaope, Mr. Lin." Han Tianba carefully looked at Lin Yi. "Boss is tired, he's resting for a while." Han Xiaope said. "That's good." Han Tianba nodded, feeling relieved. Just now, the martial art that Mr. Lin used, was it the Wood Forest 1000 transformations? It should be. Boss has been studying that martial art all this time. Han Xiaope nodded. Chapter 2078. That's right. I just don't know if I can cultivate this technique with my aptitude. Han Xiaope said worriedly. Although Lin Yi was recovering his energy in the jade pendant space, he could still see everything that was happening outside. Lin Yi had completely mastered the forest with 1000 transformations. Whether it was the technique or the way to activate it, he was already very familiar with it. Therefore, it was not difficult for him to give Han Xiaope some pointers. However, Faubert had also said that the same technique would have different effects when used by different people. Moreover, the difference in aptitude and mental cultivation method would also result in differences. Therefore, even if it was a top-notch martial skill, if it was given to a person with poor aptitude to cultivate, it would not be able to produce too much power. It should not be a problem if you can cultivate it. However, to what extent you can cultivate it depends on your own luck. Lin Yi opened his eyes and said faintly, "I've understood this technique completely. I'll teach you the first 2 forms now, but whether or not you'll be able to activate them within a day, that's hard to say. I will definitely try my best." Han Xiaope's eyes lit up. "Good. First, familiarize yourself with the mental cultivation method of the first form. If there is anything you don't understand, ask me. I will explain it to you. If there are no questions, you can watch me use it." Lin Yi handed the copy of The Forest with 1,000 Transformations to Han Xiaope. Mr. Lin. Can this old man sit in and listen in? Han Tianba asked after some hesitation. Ha, of course you can. Please go ahead, Elder Han. Lin Yi didn't mind this at all. This technique belonged to the hidden house Han in the first place, and Lin Yi had stolen it. It wouldn't be right if he didn't let them learn it. Thank you, Mr. Lin. Han Tianba was overjoyed. If he could learn the forest with 1,000 transformations, then his previous chopping skills would be rubbish. Lin Yi smiled faintly and didn't say anything. Han Tianba and Han Xiaope looked at the incantation for the forest of 1,000 transformations. After memorizing the incantation for the first form, Han Xiaope asked some questions. Lin Yi answered them one by one. Han Tianba had studied the incantation for the forest of 1,000 transformations before, but he hadn't been able to successfully activate it. Well, since there are no more questions, I'll start activating the martial arts skill. Watch carefully. Lin Yi said, and then he began to circulate the mantra, activating the first move, Forest of Woods 1,000 Changes. Boom! Han Xiaope and Han Tianba were shocked by the power of the punch. The wind brought about by the punch almost sent Han Xiaope tumbling. Strong, really too strong. Han Xiaope said sincerely. Although he was a cultivator in the past and knew that cultivators were much stronger than ordinary people, in front of Lin Yi's martial arts skill, cultivators in the past were nothing. I see. I see. Han Tianba's face showed a look of realization. Previously, he didn't have a master to guide him, so although he understood the incantation for the Forest of Woods 1,000 Transformations, he couldn't successfully activate it. It wasn't until he saw Lin Yi activate it that he understood some of the principles behind it. I'll slowly demonstrate the first move again. Watch carefully. Lin Yi knew that these two weren't geniuses. They wouldn't be able to learn anything after one demonstration, so he deliberately slowed down his movements and demonstrated the first move of the Forest of Woods 1,000 Transformations again. Although the power of the move was much weaker this time, after all, the momentum couldn't rush up. Even so, Han Xiaope and Han Tianba admired it. Let me try. Han Xiaope understood the technique that Lin Yi demonstrated and became a little impatient. Okay, ask me again if you don't understand it. Lin Yi nodded. After Han Xiaope said that, he jumped into the field eagerly and began to activate the martial arts according to the incantation for the first move. Of course, although he understood the incantation and clearly saw how Lin Yi activated the martial arts, he couldn't do it himself. Han Xiaope activated the martial arts for a long time but didn't succeed. He suddenly felt a little embarrassed. Boss, I'm really useless. It's been so long, and I haven't even used a single move. It's okay. Your routine is correct, but it lacks a sense of fluidity. Circulate the incantation more smoothly and try to do it in one go without any pauses in the middle. That should be enough. Lin Yi said. At least you didn't take a detour in the process of activating the martial arts. You just checked the proficiency level a little. Well, I'll practice again. Han Xiaope heard Lin Yi say this and immediately felt relieved. He was happy. Mr. Lin, this old man's hands are itching. I also want to practice activating the martial arts. Can Mr. Lin give me some pointers? Han Tianba asked. Of course, that's not a problem. Elder Han, please. Lin Yi also understood Han Tianba's feelings. He had studied the Forest of Woods 1,000 Transformations many times before, but he didn't succeed. Now that he had a master like Lin Yi, if he didn't seize the opportunity, he would be a fool. Okay, I hope Mr. Lin will not be stingy with your guidance. Don't laugh at me. Han Tianba nodded and began to circulate his inner force, preparing to practice activating the martial arts. In comparison, Han Tianba's movements were much more proficient than Han Xiaopa's. In the past, Han Tianba must have studied this martial arts technique many times, but he couldn't understand it. Now that he had Lin Yi's guidance and demonstration, Han Tianba suddenly understood a lot of things that he didn't understand before. He compared it with the movements he had studied before in his heart. This time, he succeeded in activating the first form of the Forest of Wood's 1,000 transformations. It wasn't even as powerful as the first form of Han Tianba's firewood chopping art. However, Han Tianba was happy that he was able to do it on his first try. Lin Yi's attack wasn't as powerful as Han Tianba's first form, but Han Tianba was happy that he was able to do it on his first try. Although he wasn't familiar with it, at least he didn't embarrass himself too much. Otherwise, his grandson wouldn't be able to do it, and his grandfather wouldn't be able to do it. If Lin Yi became impatient and didn't want to teach him anymore, it would be too late to cry. At least he had successfully practiced activating the martial arts. Regardless of whether it was too rough or not, it was still better than not being able to activate it. Chapter 2079. As long as he could successfully activate it the first time, he would be able to get used to it in the future. Although he might not be able to reach the pinnacle, it would at least be much more powerful than it was now. You flatter me, Mr. Lin. This old man's martial arts are a joke to you. Although Han Tianba was very pleased with himself, he still remembered Lin Yi's talent. He had just received a martial art and he could already activate it, and he could even teach others. That was the difference between them. However, Han Tianba never thought that he could catch up to Lin Yi. How could they even compare? Lin Yi could instantly kill an Earth-class late-phase master. Even if he was at the peak of Earth-class late phase, he might not be able to instantly kill an Earth-class late-phase master. It's not a joke. Elder Han must have studied this martial art before. That's why you were able to activate it the first time. Xiaopa hasn't studied it before, so he isn't very familiar with it. Lin Yi saw through it with one look. That's right. This old man has studied it many times. But without Mr. Lin's guidance, I'm afraid I would have to go through a lot of detours. I don't know how long it would take for me to successfully activate it. Han Tianba spoke honestly. But Elder Han, pay attention to this. This is the moment when you activate the martial art. Lin Yi said, pointing out some of the small flaws in Han Tianba's martial art. Han Tianba thought about it carefully and compared it. He immediately knew that Lin Yi was pointing out his flaws. If he could correct them, then he wouldn't be far from being able to activate the martial art. He immediately said gratefully, Mr. Lin, you really are the savior of our house. That's right, Grandpa. I'm afraid those hidden families that are plotting against our hidden house of Han still don't know yet. They're going to end up empty-handed. We already have boss as our trump card. Han Xiaopa added. Yeah, think about their expressions tomorrow, hee. Han Tianba was looking forward to it. None of the hidden families would have thought that the hidden Han family would be able to invite outside help, and that outside help was Lin Yi. The day passed quickly, and under Lin Yi's guidance, Han Xiaopa was able to use the first form of the Forest of Wood's 1,000 transformations. It was just that the power was a lot weaker than Han Tianba's, but it didn't change the fact that he was able to use it. With Lin Yi's guidance, Han Tianba and Han Xiaopa's progress was lightning fast. They were still immersed in practicing martial arts until late at night. The first martial arts technique did not consume much stamina. The higher the level of a martial arts technique, the more stamina it consumed. This was especially true for martial arts techniques that were of a higher level. Therefore, although Han Tianba and Han Xiaopa were exhausted after practicing for a whole day, they did not feel exhausted like Lin Yi. Moreover, the power of the two's techniques was not that great, so it did not seem to consume much stamina. However, Lin Yi realized that the most stamina consumption was to cast the martial arts technique to its fullest potential. Ah! It's already 9:00 at night. We haven't eaten yet. Han Xiaope put away his martial arts technique and sat on the stone bench to rest. He looked at the time and realized that it was already so late. He immediately apologized. Boss, we were too engrossed and forgot about the time. Heh. We're all cultivators. It's not a big deal to skip a meal. Lin Yi waved his hand nonchalantly. You still have to eat. I'll send someone to prepare a banquet. Han Tianba was also very embarrassed. Let's eat dinner as soon as possible. There's no need to go through so much trouble. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, I'm tired too. Let's rest early today. Let's just have some noodles. We can skip the banquet. Alright, then we'll listen to Mr. Lin. Han Tianba nodded and quickly walked out of the room. He personally went to inform the kitchen to prepare the noodles. After they were done, he personally brought them over and prepared to eat with Lin Yi. Although it was only 3 bowls of egg noodles and a few delicate side dishes, it was still cooked very well. The hidden Han family's chef must be someone amazing. After eating a bowl of noodles, Lin Yi went to rest. Tomorrow was the Hidden House Summit. Lin Yi planned to rest well and strive to win tomorrow's competition. After all, the Hidden House's wager would definitely be something good. It would be a waste not to take something like this. Naturally, it would be good if he could get more of it. Mr. Lin, the courtyard of this guest house has been destroyed. Do you want to change to another room when you rest tonight? Han Tianba asked carefully. There's no need to change. It doesn't matter. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, I'm the one who destroyed the walls of this courtyard. I'm really sorry. Mr. Lin, you're too courteous. For the sake of our Hidden House Han's martial arts, I'm willing to tear down the house, let alone the courtyard. Han Tianba smiled, these are all worldly possessions. We'll just let the disciples rebuild it later. The most important thing is to master the martial arts. That's the most important thing. The night passed without a word. The next day was the day of the Hidden House Summit. Han Xiaope was waiting in front of Lin Yi's room early in the morning. Han Xiaope was in Earth class, so he didn't need much sleep. A few hours was enough for him to fully recover. He waited in front of Lin Yi's room because he was afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't be able to find him when he woke up. Lin Yi had been training in the Jade Space the whole time. Although training here wasn't as fast as training with Xinyan, Lin Yi didn't waste a second. He used all the time he had to train. Xiaope, come in and have a seat. When are we leaving? Lin Yi felt Han Xiaope's presence and said. Boss, you're awake. Han Xiaope heard Lin Yi's voice and walked in. I'm training, Lin Yi said faintly. It seems like boss's success wasn't a coincidence. You've been training so early in the morning. Han Xiaope said with admiration, we'll leave around 7 and go straight to Donghai's Hidden House Xiao. This time, the host house is Donghai's Hidden House Xiao. Okay, just call me when you see me. Lin Yi said with his eyes closed. In the blink of an eye, it was 7 in the morning. Han Tianba had also arrived. Lin Yi felt Han Tianba's presence and returned to reality from his training state. He stood up and said, Xiaope, your grandfather is here. Let's go. My grandfather is already here. Han Xiaope was surprised. He didn't feel his grandfather's presence, but Lin Yi could feel his grandfather's presence. How miraculous! Chapter 2080. Lin Yi nodded and walked out with a smile. Elder Han, are we leaving now? Mr. Lin, you've noticed me. Han Tianba was surprised. He was afraid of disturbing Lin Yi, so he had been walking very carefully. He was an Earth-class mid-phase master, and even though he had just broken through, he was still an Earth-class mid-phase master. How could Lin Yi still sense him? I have too many enemies. I've developed a habit of being on guard. Lin Yi laughed. Han Tianba nodded. He had a question in his mind, but he didn't ask it. He had wanted to ask it since yesterday, and now that Lin Yi had sensed his presence, he wanted to ask even more. Elder Han, do you have something you want to ask me? Lin Yi saw the confusion on Elder Han's face. This. Mr. Lin, if I may be so bold as to ask, how strong are you? Han Tianba asked carefully. Strength? Can't you tell? Lin Yi asked with a smile. I'm blind. Mr. Lin, are you an Earth-class early-phase master? Han Tianba asked. He had seen Lin Yi's martial arts yesterday, and he could feel that Lin Yi was an Earth-class early-phase master. But could Lin Yi really be an Earth-class early-phase master? You can tell. Why ask? Lin Yi laughed. But I heard that Mr. Lin can kill 3 Earth-class masters in one move, and one of them was a late-phase master. Han Tianba asked doubtfully. With a trump card, of course I can fight someone stronger than me. Lin Yi didn't explain in detail. I see. Han Tianba nodded, and didn't ask any more questions. With the addition of Lin Yi to the hidden Han family, there was no need for other disciples to make a move. Only Han Tianba, Han Xiaope, and Lin Yi quietly rode the Mercedes-Benz S600 to the hidden Zhao family. Lin Yi had never been to the East Ocean where the hidden Zhao family was located. It was the complete opposite of the hidden Han family. One was in the south while the other was in the north. The hidden Zhao family's location was much better than the hidden Han family's location. It was located by the sea and had beautiful scenery. Obviously, this was the benefit of being an old hidden family. Even with the wealth of the hidden Han family, it was hard to buy a large piece of land by the sea and build a manor. After all, the land had been developed, and there were amusement parks, baths, villas, companies, and resorts. Therefore, the hidden Han family could only build their manor in the suburbs of East Ocean City. Is this the hidden Zhao family? It's really grand. Lin Yi looked at the scenery around the Zhao family's manor and said in admiration. Yes, it's here. Han Tianba wasn't envious. My hidden Han family rose up quite late. It's already good enough that we can maintain our status. The scenery around the manor is nothing. The car arrived at the entrance of the hidden Zhao family's manor. However, it was stopped. A disciple of the hidden Zhao family stood in front of the car and said, "This is private property. Unauthorized people are not allowed to enter. Please leave immediately." Normally, the hidden families who came to attend the summit would not drive only one car. At the very least, there would be 2 or 3 cars. However, the hidden Han family only had one Mercedes-Benz, and it had an East Ocean City license plate. Naturally, the disciple guarding the door thought that it was the wrong passenger. We are here to attend the hidden family summit. This is our invitation. Han Xiaope sat in the driver's seat and took out a red invitation and handed it over. Oh. Please wait a moment. When the disciple saw the invitation, his attitude became much more respectful. However, after taking the invitation and opening it, the expression on his face became a little strange. All right. Han Xiaope nodded and didn't think much of it. However, the disciple handed the invitation to another person beside him. The person took the invitation and glanced at it, then quickly ran inside the manor. In the hidden Zhao family's meeting room, there were already many hidden house masters sitting there. Hidden Zhao family was the organizer of this summit, so naturally, old Zhao sat at the head of the table. With old Zhao's identity as a Sky class master, only the masters of House Yu, House Tang, and a few other houses could compare to him. The other hidden house masters were only Earth class late phase peak. None of them had broken through to Sky class yet. So it wasn't too much for old Zhao to sit at the head of the table. Master, people from the hidden house Han are here. This disciple was the one in charge of delivering the invitation. Oh. People from the hidden house Han are here. Old Zhao paused. They're quite early. How many of them are here? Just one Mercedes-Benz. At most, there can't be more than 5 people. The disciple said truthfully. Just one car. Old Master Zhao was instantly stunned. He looked at the various family heads present in confusion. This hidden Han family can't be thinking of giving up, right? Why did he only bring 5 people? If one of them is Han Tianba, then there are only 4 spots left. Are they planning on giving up? Elder Zhao, the strongest disciple from the hidden house Han is only golden class mid-phase. Aren't you looking for trouble by letting them sign up? The one who spoke was old Tang of the hidden house Tang. From what I see, they're just going through the motions and giving up. That's right. Old Master Zhuang of the hidden Zhuang clan also laughed and said, apart from old Han, the rest of the disciples are probably here to gain some experience. When the time comes, they might give up on the arena. That'll scare them to death. Elder Zhuang, your hidden house Zhuang has 2 brothers, Zhuang Niapeo and Zhuang Niaoqiang. The winner of this duel is yours. The one who spoke was old Yu of the hidden house Yu. Aren't we all the same? Would each team be able to win a single match? But Elder Yu and Elder Tang, you 2 won all 3 rounds. Old Zhuang said enviously. Don't forget that we paid a price as well. How did your 2 disciples level up? Didn't he take our pills? Old Man Tang said. Alright, let's not think about this. Let's just not talk about it. Old Ancestor Yu said faintly. For House Yu, it wasn't that they had to scheme for House Han's belongings. They just wanted to hide House Yu's position in the hidden houses. They were like the boss of the hidden houses. Chapter 2081. That's true, but letting Han Tianba bring his men in now would be giving him too much face. Let's leave them out for a while and let them wait. Old Zhao said, we need to let him know that he's just a lackey in front of us. That's right, let's take them down a notch and make them cower before the fight even starts. Old Pai said. Go tell Qibing, let him come out and wait in the dark. When the hidden house Han is getting impatient, then let them in. Old Zhao said to the messenger. Now, old Zhao wanted to train Qibing, so he liked to let Qibing do things. At the end of the day, it was all because of the qi-gathering pill Qibing had given him. Yes. That person accepted the order and left. Qibing was in the middle of studying the racetrack, and when he received the order, he happily followed the messenger to the entrance of the manor to act cool. One had to know that acting cool was Qibing's specialty and favorite. He'd been hiding in House Zhao recently, so he didn't have the chance to act cool anymore. He had to maintain a gentle and humble attitude towards his family, and this was also for old Zhao and Elder Bai to see. After all, if he acted arrogantly in House Zhao, he'd easily fall out of favor. Qibing followed the messenger to the guard room at the entrance of the manor. He didn't go out right away, but sat there, playing games on his phone. The messenger, on the other hand, walked out with a cold face. Han Xiaopu waited here for almost 20 minutes, and when the messenger finally came back, he quickly asked, "Can we go in now?" "I'm sorry, your identities have to be verified. We suspect that your invitation was stolen or picked up from somewhere else, so we have to verify your identities," the messenger said coldly. This was what Qibing had taught him. What? Verified. We're members of the hidden Han family, so what's there to verify? When Han Xiaope heard the message, he immediately became a little anxious. Xiaope, don't be rash. Han Tianba, on the other hand, seemed to have figured something out. He sat in the passenger seat and scolded Han Xiaope. Then, he said to the voice transmission, I am the leader of the hidden Han family, Han Tianba. May I ask how we can prove our identities? Han Tianba. Your hidden Han family only sent a few people and a car. Is that even possible? The messenger laughed coldly and said, the other hidden houses all have 4 or 5 cars, at least 3. Are you here to compete? We don't necessarily need a lot of people to participate in the competition. Please find someone who can prove our identity. Han Tianba did not want to waste any more words with this small fry. This watchdog must have been instructed by the hidden Zhao family to deliberately make things difficult for them. Of course, but the people who can prove it are very busy. You should wait for a while. The messenger said indifferently. Han Xiaope didn't expect the guard to be so arrogant. He was fuming with anger, but before he could say anything, the messenger had already ignored them. He stood to the side and continued to close the door, treating them like air. Sigh, weak strength and low status. Han Tianba sighed and said, Xiaope, don't be angry. They are deliberately looking for trouble. What can we do? Bear with it for now. When the time comes for those matches, Mr. Lin will help us get back at them. What a snob. This was Lin Yi's first impression of the hidden house Zhao. Lin Yi rolled down the window and said impatiently to the messenger, I'll count to 10. Get someone who can prove it, or we're going back. We're not participating in the hidden house summit. 10, 9, 8, 7, Lin Yi didn't care what the messenger said and started counting down. The messenger didn't expect the hidden house Han to be so stubborn. They were leaving when he didn't count to 10. How could he take responsibility for this? The hidden house summit was a trap for House Han. If House Han left, who else could they trap? So, the messenger hurriedly turned to look at the guardhouse. Although Zhao Qibing was in the guard room, he was still paying attention to what was going on here. There was a voice transmitter in the guard room, so he could hear everything clearly. Zhao Qibing wanted to leave them alone for a while and then go out to scold them. He didn't expect them to leave just like that. Seeing that Lin Yi had counted to 1, he turned to Han Xiaope, Xiaope, start the car, we're going home. Wait. Zhao Qibing couldn't take it anymore and ran out, don't you dare. This is the hidden house summit, and if the invited hidden houses don't show up, it means that they've given up their hidden house status and are demoted to a normal house. They won't be protected by the elders of the Hidden House Association anymore. Oh, normal house it is then. They don't need your protection, I'll let them join the association I've formed. Lin Yi opened the door and got off the car. He looked at Zhao Qibing coldly and said faintly, Zhao Qibing, is your leg itchy again? Do you want to break it? Wah! Zhao Qibing was about to explode when he heard the arrogance of House Han. The voice was familiar, but he didn't think much about it until Lin Yi got out of the car. He looked at Lin Yi in disbelief, not understanding why Lin Yi was here all of a sudden. But, not knowing didn't stop him from being afraid of Lin Yi. Zhao Guang was an Earth-class late phase, and even he was killed by Lin Yi. How could he, Zhao Qibing, be a match for Lin Yi? Lin Yi. Lin Yi, why are you here? Zhao Qibing stuttered, changing his arrogant tone. It doesn't matter why I'm here, but your leg's about to break. Lin Yi smiled coldly and walked towards Zhao Qibing. Since this guy was able to participate in the race, he had to have some skills. Lin Yi wasn't afraid of him, but he was afraid that he'd play dirty. If he broke his leg now, he wouldn't be able to do anything. No matter how strong House Zhao was, they wouldn't be able to make Xiao Qibing recover in such a short amount of time. After all, the first race of the day was racing. Chapter 2082. Is that so? I think you guys didn't pay enough when we burned down the orphanage. Lin Yi smiled mockingly and walked towards Qibing. Stop. A cold, arrogant voice rang out as a figure stood in front of Qibing, blocking his path. Save me. Qibing breathed out in relief when he saw who it was. Lin Yi, is it? I don't know why you're here, but I'm warning you, don't do anything stupid. Elder Bai said coldly, I know you're strong, and no one under Sky Class is your match, but there are quite a few Sky Class masters in this villa. Elder Bai. Lin Yi looked at the old man in front of him, the name matched. That's me. Elder Bai said faintly, the ancient world didn't allow the Sky Class masters of the hidden houses to go out and cause trouble, but if you were to cause trouble here at House Xiao, especially disrupting our annual Hidden House Summit, then don't blame us for being ruthless. I'm sure the ancient world wouldn't let this slide. Elder Bai was right, the ancient level restricted the Sky Class of the hidden houses, but if Lin Yi came to cause trouble for the Hidden House Xiao and broke the Hidden House Summit, then even if the ancient level wanted to investigate, they'd have an excuse. Of course, Elder Bai was just trying to scare Lin Yi. Lin Yi was very strange, and his strength was unpredictable. Who knew if he had any trump cards up his sleeves? The main goal now was to ensure that the Hidden House Summit went smoothly. Everything else was secondary, and it would be best if there were no conflicts. Oh, I'm not here to mess around. I'm here representing the Hidden House Han to attend the Hidden House Summit. You guys didn't welcome us and rejected us. If that's the case, why don't we just leave? Lin Yi said calmly. Since Elder Bai was here and pointed out that there was a Sky Class here, then Lin Yi really couldn't kill Qibing. If they used this as an excuse to gang up on him, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to handle it. You're here to represent the Hidden House Han. Elder Bai was surprised after hearing Lin Yi's words. That's right, does the Hidden House Summit have a rule that only members of the Hidden House can participate? Lin Yi asked coldly. That's... No. Elder Bai shook his head. The Hidden House Summit had this rule for many years. Naturally, there wasn't a rule that didn't allow people outside the family to participate. After all, a hidden house wasn't like a noble house, where all the core members were from the family. Many of them didn't have the same surname, but those who were talented would be given the surname of the family, like Guang Er and Zhao Qijiu. So, if it were strictly, these people wouldn't be part of the Hidden House Xiao, and the Hidden House Summit would allow them to participate as well. But Elder Bai didn't think that a weak house like the Hidden House Han would be able to invite Lin Yi. Just what was their relationship with Lin Yi? Elder Bai's eyes narrowed as he calculated the pros and cons. This Lin Yi was strong, but his participation wouldn't affect the competition much. After all, most of the competitions were fixed events, and even if the Hidden House Han had Lin Yi, they wouldn't be able to turn the tide. Like racing, for example. The Hidden House Xiao would win for sure, and even if Lin Yi was the god of racing, it wouldn't matter because the Hidden House Xiao had a trump card. If you don't, then why are you talking so much? If you welcome us, then open the door. If you don't, then we'll leave. Lin Yi said coldly. Lin Yi, you're just doing your job as a gatekeeper. Don't worry about these small details. Since I've confirmed it, then you can come in. Elder Bai waved his hand, and the gatekeeper opened the door. Lin Yi didn't say anything and got in the Mercedes. He was here to participate in the competition, not to cause trouble. The Mercedes slowly drove into the villa. Naturally, there were people from House Xiao in charge of their accommodations. Elder Bai, on the other hand, flew back to the meeting room to report. No matter what, Lin Yi's arrival was a change he had to inform everyone beforehand. Elder Bai, how was it? Did the hidden house of Han lose? Elder Zhao laughed when he saw Elder Bai come back. Head of the house. Elder Bai smiled bitterly and told him everything that had happened outside. What? You're saying that Lin Yi is representing the hidden house Han to participate in the competition? Elder Zhao was shocked. The other hidden house leaders and sect leaders all frowned when they heard Lin Yi's name. Lin Yi's name was known to everyone in the room. This troublemaker gave everyone a headache. Yes, that's what Lin Yi said. Elder Bai said, but the hidden house only sent 3 people. One is Lin Yi, one is Han Tianba, and the last is a 3rd-generation disciple. I don't know his name yet. Only 3. What's going on? Elder Zhao frowned. That Lin Yi's participating in all the matches alone. That's not necessarily true. Elder Zhao, aren't you overestimating that Lin Yi? It was Elder Tang who spoke. He said faintly, Lin Yi has some aces up his sleeves, but he won't be able to do much in this competition, right? That's true. After hearing Grandfather Tang's words, Grandfather Zhao nodded his head. Every match has been set up beforehand. We will be using each family's strengths. For example, how to dodge hidden weapons. Even if our families were to compete with the Tang family's younger generation, we would not be a match for them. That's right. For example, this duel, no matter how strong that Lin Yi is, he won't be able to fight against the 2 Zhuang brothers. Zhuang Niaoqiang and Zhuang Niapeo work well together, and they've fought together many times. Even if the hidden Tang family sent their elites, they wouldn't be able to win. Elder Tang smiled. However, the hidden old Yu's face was a little gloomy. The others were not afraid, but he was a little worried. You are not afraid, but I'm afraid our hidden Yu's alchemy competition will lose. That Lin Yi is an alchemist. Chapter 2083. That's true. Elder Tang's eyes flashed. I forgot that Lin Yi is a refiner. Why don't we just kill this Lin Yi silently? This time, the one who spoke was the current head of the Golden Clock sect, Jin Wudi's senior brother, Jin Gang. Jin Gang had been focused on the sect, not caring about the sect's affairs, leaving it to Jin Wudi to manage. However, he didn't expect that the pride of the Golden Clock sect would be crippled, and Jin Wudi would die trying to avenge him. All of this had to do with a person named Lin Yi from the common world. Jin Gang had wanted to kill when he heard the name Lin Yi, but he didn't have the chance to say it. At this time, the hidden house Yu wasn't sure if they could win the competition, so he suggested it. Elder Yu's eyelid twitched. He had to admit that Jin Gang's idea wasn't bad, and with the strength of the people here, there were many sky-class masters. Killing Lin Yi wouldn't be too hard. Elder Yu, what do you think? Elder Yu's position here was high, but House Yu's position was higher, so he decided to listen to the hidden House Yu suggestion. Unrealistic. Old Ancestor Yu pointed at the sky and said faintly, every hidden house summit, the ancient level pays close attention to it. This time, we've already done some dirty things in the dark. It's just that we don't want to leave any evidence behind. But if we go too far and someone dies, we won't be able to bear the consequences if the higher-ups blame us. Elder Yu's face changed. Indeed, he had received hints from the Sky Elixir sect before this summit. Suppressing the hidden house Hans and tricking them was fine, but the bottom line was that no one died. As long as no one died, then the hidden house Hans wouldn't be able to retaliate, and they wouldn't have the mentality of dying together. And if someone really died, the other ancient sects would interfere, and the Sky Elixir sect wouldn't be able to control it. Plus, the Sky Elixir sect was playing a big game of chess right now, and they couldn't let the hidden house Yu cause trouble. That's right, killing Lin Yi at the Hidden House Summit isn't very likely. Old man, you said, the rules of the previous Hidden House Summits are there. Friendship first, competition second. Only competing with skills, not fighting to the death. Diamond Drill sighed. His provocation had failed. It seemed that none of these hidden family heads were idiots. They would never do something that went against the ancient rules. If he wanted revenge, he could only rely on himself. Ha, if something goes wrong and you die in the solo trial, you can't blame us, right? The one who spoke was the sect leader of Qianshan sect. Qianshan sect was a sect that mainly reared spiritual beasts. Oh. Sect leader what do you think? And Mingyue asked. That's right, this person was Mingyue, Jiang Wen's father. Previously, he was from the family of the 5 small aristocratic families, but now he appeared at the summit of the hidden aristocratic families. However, he wasn't representing the family. He was representing the Fire Wolf Gang's North Division to participate in the Hidden House Summit. With the Fire Wolf Gang's strength, they were naturally on equal footing with the hidden aristocratic families. It wasn't strange for him to appear here. Plus, the Fire Wolf Gang was one of the local tyrants of Donghai City. Holding the Hidden House Summit here, they couldn't ignore them. And Mingyue hated Lin Yi to the core. He hoped that the kid would die quickly. He had wanted to go along with Diamond Drill from the Golden Clock sect, but Diamond Drill's suggestion was rejected, so he didn't say anything. Now that sect leader Wu from the Qianshan sect spoke, and Mingyue didn't mind adding fuel to the fire. This competition, the final hidden competition, is a challenge that my Qianshan sect has come up with. The one who can last the longest against the ancient spiritual beast wins. Sect leader Wu smiled sinisterly. I can hint to the ancient spirit beast and let it take Lin Yi's life. It's not impossible. Oh. Everyone's eyes brightened up. Yeah, if something went wrong and he died in this competition, then it had nothing to do with the others. Being killed by a spiritual beast and being killed by a disciple of another family were 2 completely different things. Spirit beasts weren't humans, after all, and it was normal for them to go crazy for no reason. If Lin Yi were to get killed by the spirit beast due to his lack of strength, then he'd just blame it on his bad luck. Even if the ancient sects were to ask about it, he'd be able to push all the blame away. Because no one did it, but the spiritual beast did it. They couldn't be bothered with an animal, right? Although spiritual beasts were raised by the Qianshan sect, it was just temporary. Spiritual beasts had their own opinions and might run away one day. Killing a person had nothing to do with the Qianshan sect. Sect leader Wu, are you confident? Elder Yu's eyes lit up. The Yu family and Lin Yi had a deep grudge, so he was naturally interested in this matter. Yeah, sect leader Wu, is what you said true? The one who spoke was Elder Zhao. The hidden house Zhao and Lin Yi's grudge wasn't small either. I do have some confidence, but if we do this, it won't benefit our Qianshan sect at all. Sect leader Wu said faintly, our Qianshan sect has no grudge with that Lin Yi, and no matter how strong Lin Yi is, he won't be able to win the competition that we set up. Sect leader Wu's words made sense. Lin Yi and the Qianshan sect didn't interact much, and they weren't afraid of losing the competition. Elder Yu and Elder Zhao looked at each other and then at the old ancestor of House Yu. Elder Yu, your House Yu has a grudge with Lin Yi too, right? What do you think? I won't participate. The old ancestor of House Yu said faintly. Elder Yu, that Lin Yi can even kill an Earth-class late-phase master. I won't deny that your hidden House Yu is strong, but even if you're strong, can you win against Lin Yi in the single arena? Elder Zhao naturally wanted to drag more people into the water. Only by giving more benefits to the Qianshan sect could the Qianshan sect's leader help kill Lin Yi. Haha, the competition doesn't allow killing. I've studied it before, that Lin Yi's moves are all killing moves, one fatal move. If he doesn't use those moves, he might not be able to win against our House Yu's masters. The old ancestor of House Yu was a calm person. Before, he found trouble with Lin Yi to steal the Qi gathering pill, not to harm Lin Yi's life. Chapter 2084. Seeing that House Yu wasn't going to budge, House Yu and House Tang's old man had no choice but to look at House Pai, who also had conflicts with Lin Yi. House Yu's old man said, "Old Pai, what about you? Lin Yi killed quite a lot of your people, didn't he?" Although we have some misunderstanding with Lin Yi, our grudge with Lin Yi isn't that big right now, and we don't want to get involved. House Pai's elder was a shrewd man. It was good that Lin Yi was dead, but what if he wasn't? If he wasn't killed by the spirit beast, then the Hidden House Pai wouldn't be able to handle it. Hidden House Pai only had one Sky-class early-phase physical practitioner, the big brother of House Pai's elder. But Lin Yi could even kill an Earth-class late-phase spiritual practitioner, so it wouldn't be hard for him to kill a Sky-class early-phase physical practitioner as well. So, House Pai didn't want to get involved in this. If they went for wool and came home shorn, then they'd be screwed. Headmaster Jean Gang, what do you think? House Yu's elder didn't have a choice other than him and House Xiao's elder, no one else supported killing Lin Yi. Even House Tang's elder had some conflicts with Lin Yi, but it wasn't to the point of death. So, the only one left was the Headmaster Jean Gang of the Golden Clock sect. My grudge with that Lin Yi won't end until one of us is dead. If we can really kill Lin Yi, then we'll do whatever you say. Jean Gang said. All right. House Yu's elder finally found another friend, and he looked at Mingyue. Mr. An, I heard that your son and Lin Yi have a deep grudge. The Fire Wolf Gang's grudge can be resolved by ourselves. And Mingyue was even cleverer. The three houses had decided to kill Lin Yi already, and it wasn't just one or two houses, but if all three were to offer some benefits, it would be enough to move the Gone Mountain sect's headmaster. So Mingyue didn't need to join in the fun. It would be great if Lin Yi died, but he didn't. Plus, he didn't have the final say in the Fire Wolf Gang. He was just a representative, different from the other hidden houses. The treasures that Mingyue brought were just enough to bet. One more wouldn't make a difference. When he returned, he would have to hand in the exact amount. Naturally, he didn't have anything to give to Qian Mountain sect, so he didn't participate. Headmaster Wa, each of us will take out one treasure. After this is done, we'll give it to you as a gift. What do you think? Wa, the three of us will offer one treasure each. After this is over, what do you think of it? How would sect leader Wa of Qian Mountain sect not understand the meaning in old Zhao's words? But he was confident, so he just said lightly, 3 treasures of heaven and earth. It can't be said to be a lot, but it's better than nothing. It's settled then. Leave this matter to me. Okay. Old Master Zhao nodded and said, great, then it's decided. Old Man Zhao, Old Man Yu, and Diamond Drill were not afraid that these private conversations would spread to the ancient times. Everyone present was a part of the conspiracy against the hidden Han family. Everyone's butt was not clean, so they were not afraid that someone would gossip in private. Han Tianba, Han Xiaope, and Lin Yi entered the Zhao manor, naturally not knowing that the heads of the other houses were plotting against them. But with Elder Bai's orders, no one dared disrespect them on the way. Originally, according to the Hidden House Zhao's plan, even if the Hidden House Han moved in, the disciples would just treat them coldly. But with the addition of Lin Yi, Elder Bai didn't go looking for trouble. Lin Yi was a pain in the ass, and he'd let the head figure out how to deal with him. He didn't want to piss off a madman like Lin Yi. These snobbish slaves. Han Xiaopa sat in the courtyard of the guest room prepared by the Zhao family and drank hot tea. he said hatefully. After seeing Boss, his attitude immediately changed 180 degrees. If Boss didn't come this time, we probably wouldn't even get to drink hot tea. Xiaopa, the training world is like this. The one with the strongest fish talks. Han Tianba wasn't angry. He shook his head and seemed to have accepted it. Our hidden house is weak now, so it's normal for them to bully us. With Mr. Lin joining, they're afraid of Mr. Lin's power, so it's normal for them to treat us with respect. After we win a few matches, let's see if they still dare to treat us like this. Han Xiaopa humphed. Winning the matches is secondary. The main thing is that you have a powerful boss. Han Tianba smiled. Oh. Han Xiaopa paused, but he understood what Han Tianba meant. Han Tianba wanted him to use this hidden house summit to spread the news that he had accepted Lin Yi as his boss. However, although Han Xiaopa understood, he still looked at Lin Yi. Lin Yi naturally understood what Han Tianba meant, but he didn't mind. Han Xiaopa was a loyal little brother, and he was even asking for his opinion. This made Lin Yi even more satisfied. He nodded. During the duels, I will tell them. Thank you, boss. Han Xiaopa was overjoyed and quickly thanked him. The three of them rested in the garden for a while. Then, a disciple of the hidden house Xiao ran over. However, he had a hidden house summit service staff tag on his neck. Clearly, he had something to tell the hidden house Han. Is the head of the Han family here? The disciple ran over and asked respectfully. Clearly, he had been instructed by Elder Bai. His attitude was very good. Elder Zhao had already made the decision to let the Gone Mountain sect do something to Lin Yi in the last hidden match. Naturally, he wouldn't piss off Lin Yi. I am Han Tianba of the hidden house Han. What can I do for you, envoy? Han Tianba stood up and asked. The staff members of the hidden house summit were called envoys. This was a rule that had been in place for many years. Head of the Han family, please head to the meeting room. We need to discuss the first match. The disciple said. Okay, please lead the way. Han Tianba nodded and made an inviting gesture. The disciple brought Han Tianba to the meeting room and said, Head of the Han family, please enter. Han Tianba walked into the meeting room and saw the various family heads, elders, and sect leaders sitting around the conference table. His heart sank. It seemed that the situation was just as he had guessed and the information he had received. These hidden families and sects had joined forces to deal with the hidden Han family. Chapter 2085. Greetings, elders and headmaster. Han Tianba cupped his fists and bowed according to the rules of the martial world. Patriarch Han, come and take a seat. You're the only one left. Old Master Zhao smiled and pretended to be enthusiastic. Since Han Tianba was already here, he wasn't afraid and sat down on an empty seat. Alright, since Master Han is here, then we can begin the Hidden House Summit. Elder Zhao nodded and started talking. Everyone knows that the purpose of the Hidden House Summit is for the children of each house to have a chance to train. It's also to urge them to work hard and achieve better results, so I won't go into the details. Haha, that's right. It's not even the first time old Master Han has participated in the Hidden House Summit. Naturally, there's no need for introductions. Let's talk about the rules and competition of this year's Hidden House Summit. That's right. There were some loopholes in the rules of the last summit. The Hidden House of Han forfeited every single round and refused to participate. That's not right. If every single hidden house refused to participate, then what's the point of this trial? Old Xiao said. Han Tianba laughed coldly. He already knew that this year's Hidden House Summit was targeted at his house, so he knew about the rules beforehand. Yeah, but last year, Hidden House Han was a newcomer, so we treated it as a spectator. This year, we can't do that again. Elder Tang said. So, this year's rules have been discussed and we've made some minor changes. Old Man Zhao said, that is, every family and sect must participate in every competition. Even if they forfeit, they must still place a bet. This way, it will prevent people from being opportunistic and only placing bets on the events that they are good at, causing the competition to be unfair. Fair. Old Grandfather Han thought to himself, your rules sound fair, but to the hidden Han family, it's the most unfair. That's right. Rules need to be perfected for it to be fair. Elder Zhuang nodded. This year's competition, regardless of whether or not they signed up, they must place a bet. Even if they forfeit, they must place a bet. Elder Zhao said, I'll explain the rules in detail. Alright, we're all ears. Elder Pai said. Han Tianba felt like they were being hypocritical. Luckily, he had Lin Yi's help, or else he would have been pissed to death. For every match, every house must take out a treasure as a bet. Whether they participate or forfeit, they must place a bet. Old Man Zhao explained, and the winner of every match will be able to obtain all the bets other than the second and third place bets. And the second and third place bets will be able to retrieve their family's belongings after the end of the match. At the same time, the person in first place also had the right to exchange. For example, if the item he favored was in second or third place, he could use any item in the wager to exchange with the person in second or third place, and the person in second or third place could not refuse. The person in second place also had the right to exchange, but he could only forcefully exchange the items of the person in third place. He couldn't forcefully exchange the items of the person in first place. Of course, if the person in first place agreed, they could also exchange. The third place didn't have the right to exchange, but if the second and third place agreed, they could exchange with each other. Of course, if all the houses forfeit, or if the houses that didn't forfeit all lose the match, then each house will take back their bets and the match will be invalid. Of course, if all the houses forfeit, or the houses that didn't forfeit all lose the match, then each house will take back their bets and the match will be invalid. This rule was very simple. After Old Man Zhao explained it, everyone understood. To put it bluntly, everyone was working together to trick the Han family. There was nothing strange about it. This rule was developed by everyone except for Han Tianba. Han Tianba himself also got the general idea from other sources. Now that he heard it, it was more detailed and more explanation for the second and third place. Everyone, do you have any objections to this rule? Elder Zhao asked. Han Tianba was speechless. This rule was created by everyone. What objections? Even if I had objections, would you accept it if I brought it up? Alright, if there are no objections, then let's move on to the first match, the car race. Elder Zhao looked at Han Tianba's sullen face and felt very refreshed. He thought that they had a chance with Lin Yi, but now it seemed like it was nothing. Although Lin Yi was said to be very powerful, he might not be that powerful in a race like this. And this is a trial for the disciples. Us old guys shouldn't waste time. Elder Yu said. Since it's a competition to motivate the disciples, let's start now. Naturally, Elder Yu is a man of virtue and prestige. Does anyone have any objections? Elder Zhao asked. Since House Yu's old ancestor had spoken, who else would dare to object? Alright, since no one has any objections, let's go back and get ready. We'll bring our disciples and bets to the meeting hall at 1:00 in the afternoon. After that, we'll head to the mountain behind our Zhao family for the race. Master Zhao said. After Elder Zhao finished, the elders and heads of the houses left as well, returning to their temporary residences to prepare for the competition in the afternoon. Although the first place had already been decided internally, the second and third places had not been decided internally. Therefore, those families that had not been decided internally as the first place were all wondering if they could get the second or third place. This way, they could at least keep their bets and not lose money. In other words, although these hidden houses and sects had agreed to harm the hidden house Han, they were still competing internally. Whoever got the second or third place would be the biggest winner. Han Tianba returned to his residence and Han Xiaopa immediately stood up to greet him. "Grandpa, how was it?" "As expected, the rules were pretty much the same as what we heard. You have to bet even if you forfeit," Han Tianba said. "Luckily, we prepared in advance and had Mr. Lin. Otherwise, we would have lost badly." "As expected." Han Xiaopa nodded. "When does the first match start? Which event are we competing in?" Chapter 2086. "Yes." Han Xiaopa replied. "Mr. Lin, thank you." Han Tianba said. "It's nothing." Lin Yi waved his hand. At 1:00 sharp, the patriarchs and sect leaders of the various clans and sects that had appeared in the morning all brought their disciples to the meeting hall. These clans and sects were different from the Han family. Usually, the patriarchs or sect leaders would only bring one disciple to participate in the competition. The other disciples would stay in their residences to rest and build up their strength. After all, there was no suspense about the winner of this competition, and there was no point in watching it. They weren't familiar with the content of the competition, so they might as well take a break and shock the world in the next competition. "Old Master Han, who's the hidden house Han sending? Why are there two?" Old Xiao asked mischievously when he saw House Xiao registering the bets and the competition list. "Mr. Lin, of course." Han Tianba smiled, not angry at all. "Xiaopa is just here to see the world." "All right." Elder Zhao had a disciple register Lin Yi's name, and glanced at the treasure in Han Tianba's hand. It was a 1,000-year-old Lingji mushroom, a great ingredient for medicine refinement. It seemed that the hidden house Han knew the rules, too, and they couldn't use items that were too low level as stakes. "Old Zhao, who's the Zhao sending? Don't tell me it's Zhao Qibing, that god of misfortune." Lin Yi looked at old Zhao and mocked. Lin Yi had gotten the news from Han Tianba a long time ago. This was a meeting of the hidden houses, and they weren't allowed to fight to the death. They couldn't hurt people in private either, so he wasn't worried about his safety. After all, the ancient level was watching. Zhao Qibing is the god of racing. Since when did he become the god of misfortune? Don't talk nonsense. I'll warn you as the organizer that you're cursing him. Old Xiao said coldly. I'm not cursing him. I should be warning you not to talk nonsense. Lin Yi curled his lips. I'm just speaking the truth. Zhao Qibing's legs are easy to break. Whatever you say. We'll see if you're strong enough in the competition. Old Xiao thought. He'll let Lin Yi talk for now, and when the time comes, he'll let the Qianshan sect kill him. After everyone registered, the group arrived at the back mountain of the hidden Zhao family's manor. This was also the hidden Zhao family's private territory. The winding mountain road could be used as a private racetrack. At this moment, at the foot of the mountain, there was already a row of brand new Volkswagen Jetta cars. Each car was printed with the surname of each family and sect. Obviously, all the participating disciples knew the model of the car and didn't feel that there was anything wrong with it. There are no rules in this race. The first to reach the finish line at the top of the mountain wins. Old Master Zhao said, in order to show the fairness of the competition, I would like to invite two highly respected representatives to check if all the cars are the same. It was a brand new car and had not been tampered with. Elder Yu and Elder Yu, both of them were Sky Class Masters. Please excuse me. All right. No problem. Elder Yu and Elder Yu nodded and went to check the car. Lin Yi sneered at the scene before him. This was simply fooling a ghost. These two were in cahoots with the hidden Zhao family. They were fooling the hidden Han family together. Asking them to check. What could they find out? Fair. However, the hidden house Han was weak now, and the rules were set by them. They couldn't do anything about it. After a while, Elder Yu and Elder Yu said at the same time, the cars are all brand new. Alright, since Elder Yu and Elder Yu have done the fairness, then all the participants please get on the car marked with your surname and sect. The competition will start with the sound of the horn. Once the horn sounds, the race will begin. Old Zhao said. Lin Yi looked coldly at Zhao Qibing not far away. A strange smile appeared on his face as he walked towards the car marked with House Han. Zhao Qibing felt a chill down his spine from Lin Yi's stare. He didn't know what that smile meant, but he still scoffed and forced himself to get on his car calmly. What was there to be afraid of? Racing wasn't a fight, it was too easy for him to beat him. One had to know that his car was modified, the only one out of all the cars that had been modified. As for Elder Yu and Elder Yu's inspection, it was just a formality. House Zhao was the host of this hidden noble house summit, and the other events were all taken by others. As the host, it wouldn't be right if House Zhao didn't win at least one race. But compared to Zhao Qikun of the hidden Zhao family, he didn't have much of an advantage, so in order to balance the competition, they added a race and gave the championship to the hidden House Zhao. Zhao Qibing was good at racing, and he had the advantage of being familiar with the terrain, but other hidden houses, other than the hidden house Han, could invite other racers as helpers. It was just that the championship was decided internally, so it wasn't troublesome. With a loud horn, Lin Yi quickly stepped on the accelerator, and the car sped forward. After that, Lin Yi started shifting gears non-stop until he reached the highest gear. He stepped on the accelerator as well, maintaining his position in the lead among all the cars. This move of Lin Yi's stunned all the elders and sect masters. Was Lin Yi really good at driving? Elder Zhao, on the other hand, was also thankful that he had a trick up his sleeves. Zhao Qibing's car was modified, otherwise, this competition would be over. This Lin Yi really couldn't be underestimated. He was a practitioner, and his driving skills were so good that even Zhao Qibing, who often raced in illegal races abroad, wasn't his match. Although Zhao Qibing's start wasn't as good as Lin Yi's, it didn't take long for the modified car to show its advantage. Lin Yi and the others all had naturally aspirated engines, but Zhao Qibing's was a turbocharged one. After the turbocharged, the car's speed increased, and in an instant, it overtook Lin Yi's car, leaving Lin Yi far behind. Lin Yi's understanding of cars wasn't any less than Zhao Qibing's, and it could even be said that he knew more than Zhao Qibing. He frowned when he saw Zhao Qibing's car overtaking him. Lin Yi had been speeding up since the horn sounded, and his speed was now over 160 miles per hour. Lin Yi was still speeding up, and Lin Yi's car, on the other hand, was at least 230 miles per hour, and it was still speeding up. Was this even possible? It wasn't as if Lin Yi had never driven a Jetta before, and 200 miles per hour at most. Even for Lin Yi, it wasn't easy to stay at 220 miles per hour. Chapter 2087. Bookmark, providing you with interesting reading. After all, the mountain road was bumpy, and Qibing was still accelerating at 223. It didn't take long for him to realize that something was wrong. So he immediately realized that there was something wrong with Qibing's car. As for the inspection by Grandpa Yu and Grandpa Yu, it was all a cover-up. He'd have a good chance of winning if they were both using the same car, but the cars were different. He wasn't confident even if he was one of the best racers in the world when it came to competing with a modified car with a regular car. Fuck, isn't this too much? How is this possible? Han Xiaopi saw that Qibing's car, which was originally second to Lin Yi, had suddenly overtaken Lin Yi. He wasn't happy at all. Qibing's car is obviously problematic. Have you ever seen a Jetta that can go 220 or 30 miles per hour? And the acceleration is so fast, there's obviously something wrong with the engine. What? Grandpa Han, does your family have something to say? Grandpa Zhao looked at Han Xiaopi and asked coldly, could it be that you're doubting the fairness of Grandpa Yu and Grandpa Yu? Xiaopi. Don't talk nonsense. Han Tianba sighed inwardly. He really couldn't say anything under these circumstances. If he said too much, he'd offend House Yu and House Yu as well. Now that the hidden House Han was on the decline, it'd be a waste if they found an excuse to cause trouble. How could Han Xiaopi not understand his grandpa's meaning? He sighed and didn't say anything else, feeling quite regretful. He thought that Lin Yi would be able to win the race after seeing how good his driving skills were, leading from the very start. But it seemed like that was nothing more than a pipe dream. Very quickly, Lin Yi used his superb driving skills to increase the speed of his car to 210 kilometers. 220 kilometers. But he realized helplessly that Lin Yi's speed was close to 267 kilometers per hour. If his car wasn't modified, then Lin Yi's speed would be the limit. The official speed of this car was only 175 kilometers per hour. Lin Yi was already seriously exceeding the speed limit. Was Qibing's car an airplane? GGA. Zhao Qibing looked at Lin Yi's car that was getting smaller and smaller in the rearview mirror. He was overjoyed. You think you're good at driving just because you're skilled? I can't beat you to death. However, there was a bend in the road ahead, and Qibing had no choice but to slow down. The bend in the mountain road was no joke, and with such high speed, even if he was a golden class practitioner, he'd be crippled from the fall if he wasn't careful. While Qibing was slowing down, Lin Yi was still maintaining his speed of 220 miles per hour, using the inertia to accelerate. Fuck, are you crazy? Qibing cursed silently as he watched Lin Yi's car speed towards him like a madman, but he didn't dare to speed up too much. He wanted to win the competition, but he valued his life even more. What was the point of winning the competition if he died? Qibing didn't dare to be careless as he entered the bend. He controlled the speed to be around 160 kilometers per hour. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control it if it was too fast. With his driving skills, this speed was already his limit. However, in the next moment, Qibing was shocked to find that Lin Yi had entered the mountain road at a speed of 230 miles per hour. Drifting through the bend without slowing down at all. And so, after a few drifts, Lin Yi caught up with Qibing, and Qibing's car was already in front of him. Fuck, luckily there's a straight road ahead, or else this madman would have caught up with me. Qibing looked at the rearview mirror and thanked himself for his luck. After entering the mountain road, there was a straight road ahead. On this kind of road, Qibing could use his advantage of unlimited acceleration again. And so, just as Lin Yi was about to catch up with Qibing accelerated again and left Lin Yi in the dust. Wahahaha. Qibing laughed delightfully. Ever since he met Lin Yi, this was the first time Lin Yi lost, so he was very happy. In the past, he was always the one losing to Lin Yi, but this time, he reversed the situation. Lin Yi wasn't angry, nor was he irritated. Instead, he calmly watched as Qibing sped up again, leaving him far behind, although Lin Yi's driving skills were undeniable, and he wasn't weak at all, but when it came to driving, he was still a far cry from Qibing. Even if Lin Yi's skills were heaven-defying, drifting through the bends non-stop, he was still no match for Qibing. Qibing's car was too good, and he could kill Lin Yi in a split second when accelerating in a straight line. It's fine if you guys play by the rules, but since you're playing dirty with me, then don't blame me for not going easy on you. Lin Yi shook his head and said faintly. After Lin Yi calculated that he wouldn't be Qibing's opponent no matter what he did, Lin Yi didn't plan to play according to the rules anymore. Since Qibing broke the rules first, then don't blame Lin Yi for not going easy on him. Lin Yi was still driving calmly, but he had secretly started to condense a pure energy bomb in his right hand. Lin Yi hadn't used this trump card against others for a long time, and he didn't expect to use it again this time, on Qibing. Of course, Lin Yi didn't plan to kill Lin Yi. Since the rules of the competition didn't allow killing, if Lin Yi made too big of a commotion, it would attract suspicion, and he might get into trouble. After all, there were several Sky-class masters here, and Lin Yi wasn't that crazy yet. But if he made a small accident so that no one could find any evidence, then there wouldn't be a problem. And so, Lin Yi stopped condensing the pure energy bomb after condensing it, and focused on driving, waiting for the next turn. Finally, after passing through a straight section of the road, they arrived at the bend again. This winding mountain road was very strange. There was a mountain road, and a mountain road. It was like a racetrack specially designed for racing. From Lin Yi's point of view, this was probably an underground racetrack. Otherwise, if it was just for the Hidden Noble House's meeting every year, there was no need for Hidden House Xiao to spend so much money to build a racetrack. Plus, Hidden House Xiao wouldn't be hosting the meeting every year. This was probably a place for Hidden House Xiao to make money in the dark. Hidden Noble Houses couldn't do business in the open, but doing business in the dark without being discovered by the Hidden Noble House's arbitration committee wasn't a problem. Plus, the Hidden Noble House's arbitration committee only existed in name now, and the few elders were the ancestors of the various houses. Hidden House Xiao naturally wouldn't be afraid of anything. Chapter 2088. Lin Yi rolled down the window a little, and the cold mountain wind blew into the car, making a weird whining sound. But this kind of wind was nothing to Lin Yi, and Lin Yi didn't mind at all. Lin Yi was just waiting for the right opportunity. Turn, drift. Turn again, drift again. The distance between Lin Yi's car and Zhao Qibing's car was getting smaller and smaller, and Lin Yi smiled coldly as he threw the pure energy bomb at Zhao Qibing's right rear tire. With a loud bang, the right rear tire of Zhao Qibing's car exploded, and he lost control of his car in that instant. Due to the high speed, his car spun a few times on the curve, then rolled down the winding mountain road. This mountain road was specially built for racing, and it wasn't very steep. Even if Zhao Qibing's car fell down, it wouldn't crash and kill him. Plus, Zhao Qibing's car must have had a lot of safety measures installed, so he wasn't afraid of falling to his death. Zhao Qibing was very pleased with himself, but he didn't think that his car would roll over like that. He screamed in shock, but no one could hear him. Lin Yi's car rolled behind Zhao Qibing's car, brushing past him. Using the pure energy bomb to destroy Zhao Qibing's car was something that Lin Yi did very secretively, and so no one at the foot of the mountain saw that it was Lin Yi's doing. They only saw Zhao Qibing's car suddenly go out of control, and roll down the mountain road. Qibing. Old Zhao saw Zhao Qibing's car rolling down, and he couldn't care less anymore as he yelled and quickly rushed to the scene of the accident. The elders of the other clans and the leaders of the sects all followed behind old Zhao and ran towards the scene of the accident. Zhao Qibing's car had been modified, and the safety measures were naturally modified as well. The accident this time was serious, but Zhao Qibing's life wasn't in danger. But when old Zhao got Zhao Qibing out of the car, Zhao Qibing's legs were crushed by the car. "Qibing, how are you?" Elder Zhao asked as he helped Qibing reconnect the bones in his leg. "Grandpa, it hurts." Qibing's heart was filled with unwillingness. He was so close to victory, but he didn't think that his car would have a flat tire. "Qibing, what's going on? Did Lin Yi harm you?" Old Xiao subconsciously thought of Lin Yi. Only Lin Yi would have the motive to harm him. Plus, Lin Yi's car was the closest to Zhao Qibing's, so it was most likely to be tampered with. I have no idea. Zhao Qibing endured the pain. I don't know what happened, the tires just burst, flat tire. Elder Zhao looked at the right rear tire of Zhao Qibing's car. He wanted to see if there was anything wrong with it, but he couldn't find anything. He turned to Elder Tang and asked, Elder Tang, the Hidden House Tang has a deep understanding of hidden weapons. Please take a look and see if this tire was broken by a hidden weapon. After all, with Lin Yi's strength, it would be a piece of cake for him to use a hidden weapon or a stone to burst a tire, but old Zhao couldn't be sure. All right. Grandfather Tang nodded his head as he carefully examined the punctured tire. After a while, he shook his head and said, it doesn't look like it was caused by a hidden weapon or an irregular injury. Rather, it looks like it was caused by an explosion. Oh. So, it really was a tire burst. Old Zhao didn't doubt old Tang's judgment. After all, Hidden House Tang was a house that specialized in hidden weapons. If old Tang said that it wasn't a hidden weapon, then it really wasn't, that's right. Old Tang nodded. It was strange, but according to his judgment, it really was caused by a tire burst. Why am I so unlucky? Qibing was furious when he heard that his tire had exploded out of nowhere. He could have won against Lin Yi, but he'd lost the chance to do so. This car, which disciple was in charge of maintaining it? Old Zhao was furious as well. They were going to lose this competition, and they wouldn't be able to get back their bet. Even the second and third place didn't have a chance. How could old Zhao, who wanted to be the champion, be satisfied? But there was nothing he could do. The tire burst was an accident, and Zhao Qibing could only blame his bad luck. I was wondering why the car was driving so fast. It really was a problematic car. Han Xiaopa curled his lips. He didn't know if it was Lin Yi's doing, but no matter what, Zhao Qibing's car had crashed was a good thing for Lin Yi. Old Zhao's face darkened. How could he not tell that Han Xiaopa was taking pleasure in his misfortune? He humphed. People make mistakes, horses stumble. It's normal for a car to have a problem. What's there to be surprised about? No, didn't Elder Zhao say that the car was inspected by Elder Yu and Elder Yu? Is there no problem? Han Tianba said with a smile. They're not professional car engineers. How could they tell if there's a problem with the car? Old Zhao frowned. Heh, maybe the modification workers are too bad. Han Tianba said. But no matter what, no matter how unhappy old Zhao was, he had to find the disciples of his house and send Zhao Qibing back for treatment. This race couldn't continue no matter what. The Hidden House Zhao had to withdraw from the race because of the crash. This was originally a competition designed for the Hidden Zhao family, but in the end, the Hidden Zhao family lost everything. On the other side of the mountain, Lin Yi had successfully crossed the finish line. This result made some happy and some sad. Han Tianba was naturally happy, and so was Han Xiaopa. But the other hidden houses weren't as happy. They said that they would take turns to be the banker, but they lost the first round. The most infuriating thing was that the winner was the Hidden House Han that they had been targeting together. If they knew that the Hidden House Han would win, they wouldn't have set up this race. But the rules were set. They couldn't go back on their words, could they? Plus, if they went back on their words in the first round, would they still be able to compete in the future? So, according to the rules, Lin Yi won and won everything except the second and third place. Chapter 2089. Although it wasn't hard to find the recipe for this kind of medicine, the ingredients were extremely difficult to find. It was considered a rare item, but it wasn't very useful for spiritual practitioners. First race, Hidden House Han wins. After settling Zhao Qibing down, old Zhao endured the pain in his heart and placed the treasures in front of Han Tianba. Do you want to exchange for the second and third places items? After Old Master Zhao finished this sentence, he desperately winked at Old Master Yu, who was in second place. Because, in this pile of treasures, there was something that Hidden House Zhao urgently needed. It was contributed by Hidden House Zhuang. Hidden House Zhuang gave face to Hidden House Zhao. Hidden House Zhao was supposed to be the champion of this race, so this item would eventually fall into the hands of Hidden House Zhao. However, they didn't expect that Lin Yi would appear out of nowhere. Old Zhao was determined to get that item, so he hoped that Hidden House Yu would use their right to exchange with Lin Yi. Han Tianba didn't say anything and looked at Lin Yi. After all, the winner was Lin Yi, and according to the agreement, these treasures belonged to Lin Yi. It was up to Lin Yi to decide whether to exchange or not. Lin Yi looked at the things he got. There weren't many useful things. They were all treasures that might be useful for alchemy in the future, but they weren't useful at the moment. However, Hidden House Yu's Qi Gathering Pill and Hidden House Pai's Body Refining Elixir were things that Lin Yi really wanted. But unexpectedly, these two families still won. However, Lin Yi did not speak at this moment. Instead, he quietly observed the situation. Old Zhao kept signaling old Yu, who was hiding in the Yu family, with his eyes. He was afraid that old Zhao was plotting something. Lin Yi was not in a hurry. He said lightly, "You family head, you don't need to exchange with me, right? If you don't want to exchange, I'll exchange with Hidden House Pai." Cough cough. Old Master Zhao coughed violently. He was afraid that the Yu family would miss the opportunity. It seemed that Lin Yi didn't want the small Qi Gathering Pill hidden in the hands of the Yu family, so he proposed to exchange with the third place first. Otherwise, why didn't Lin Yi directly exchange with the second hidden Yu family? Could it be that there was something wrong with Lin Yi's logic? "Mr. Lin, I'd like to trade for a treasure. Is that possible?" The person in second place had the right to ask the person in first place for an exchange and the person in third place for an exchange, so he asked. "Oh." Lin Yi pretended to be surprised and asked, "What do you want to exchange for?" "I want to exchange for the 500-year-old lotus in your hand," said Old Man Yu. 500-year-old lotus. Lin Yi glanced at the treasure in his hand and said indifferently, "This thing is really useless to me, but I don't want to exchange it with you." "Ugh." Old Man Yu paused and asked, "Since it's useless, why not exchange it?" "Yeah, this 500-year-old lotus is rare, but the small Qi Gathering Pill is also a good thing. It can let a practitioner break through from the peak of the late phase to the earth class. It's hard to buy." Old Man Zhao also added, "This 500-year-old lotus is just a supplement, it can stabilize the strength of the heaven class. In terms of value, it's much less than the small Qi Gathering Pill." "Oh, I'm not the peak of the late phase either, what do I need the small Qi Gathering Pill for?" Lin Yi said indifferently, "This 500-year-old lotus can be used when I advance into the heaven class in a few days." "In a few days?" Old Man Zhao took a deep breath. He didn't know if Lin Yi was bragging or if he really would advance into the heaven class soon. But after hearing what Lin Yi said, he was even more anxious. His heaven class strength wasn't very stable yet. After all, he used spiritual medicine to forcefully break through, so it wasn't as stable as those who broke through naturally. He needed to consolidate his strength, and this 500-year-old lotus was for that. "Yeah, I level up very quickly, don't you know?" Lin Yi asked. "This?" "Ha, of course I know." Old Man Zhao said, "But Mr. Lin is so talented, I don't think you need this thing. After all, this thing is only for stabilizing your strength, and Mr. Lin's strength is advancing at a tremendous pace, you don't need to stabilize it at all. Who knows, you might level up again before it's stabilized. Oh, you're right. Lin Yi nodded. Right, so, do you want to exchange it? Old Man Zhao asked anxiously. No. Lin Yi rejected without hesitation. Ha! Old Man Zhao was furious. You don't want to exchange it even if it's useless. However, although he was annoyed in his heart, he didn't dare to be careless on the surface. He could only hold back his anger and asked, why? Little Qi gathering pill is useless. Although it's precious, I can also refine it. The price of those materials isn't worth this 500-year-old lotus. Lin Yi shook his head and said. This. Old man, you thought that Lin Yi had cheated 2 cauldrons before. In that case, Lin Yi must be an alchemist. This little Qi gathering pill was a 2nd-grade elixir. Maybe Lin Yi could really refine it himself. It was normal that he didn't like it. Thinking of this, old man, you said, then, why are you willing to exchange? 2 little Qi gathering pills. If you can afford it, I'll reluctantly exchange. Lin Yi said faintly. 2. Old man, you heard Lin Yi's words and sneered, you're asking for too much. The materials needed for 1 little Qi gathering pill were indeed not worth the price of this 500-year-old lotus, but the materials needed for 2 little Qi gathering pills had already exceeded the value of this lotus. Moreover, even if you have 2 sets of materials, you may not be able to successfully refine 2 little Qi gathering pills. Do it or not. Lin Yi also sneered, I'm the first, I make the decision. You have the right to exchange, I have the right not to exchange. Yes, I'll exchange. Old Man Zhao gave Old Man Yu a look. Their hidden house Zhao still had 1 little Qi gathering pill. They wanted to give it to Zhao Qibing in the future, but at the moment, this 500-year-old lotus was more important. So, Old Man Zhao decided to exchange it first and buy it from the hidden house Yu in the future. We'll exchange the goods at the same time. Lin Yi said. Okay. Since Old Man Zhao said to exchange, Old Man Yu naturally wouldn't say anything more. At that time, the hidden house Zhao would definitely compensate the hidden house Yu. Chapter 2090. Otherwise, Han Xiaopo wouldn't have been so serious when he asked for a Qi gathering pill. After exchanging for the 500-year thin lotus, Lin Yi turned to Elder Pai, I'm interested in your body refinement potion. Out of all the things I have, that 500-year thin lotus is the most useless, and I wanted to exchange it with you, but I didn't think that Elder you would beat me to it, I'm sorry. What? Elder Zhao almost spat out blood after hearing Lin Yi's words. So Lin Yi didn't want the 500-year thin lotus. If he knew that Lin Yi wanted it from the hidden house Pai, he wouldn't have used 2 Qi gathering pills. House Pai's potion was precious, but it wasn't worth 2 Qi gathering pills, it was just 1. Unknowingly, Old Man Zhao had paid double the price in exchange for the 500-year-old thin lotus flower. I say, Elder Zhao, I'm trading with someone else, what are you doing? Even if you're the host of the Hidden House Summit, you can't just interfere with everything, can you? Lin Yi said purposely. Elder Zhao was pissed, hating himself for being too hasty. Out of all these things, this meridian opening pill isn't bad, I'll give it to your house Pai in exchange for the potion. Lin Yi looked at the treasures in his hand, and there was a meridian opening pill, which seemed to be from the hidden house Yu or the hidden house Tang. This thing was useless to Lin Yi. The meridian opening pill could repair 1/3 of the injured person's meridians, meaning that if the meridians were damaged within 1/3 of the body, it could be healed with the meridian opening pill. Otherwise, it would be useless, even if one ate 2. But for Lin Yi, even if all of his meridians were damaged, he could use the art of dragon mastery. This meridian opening pill was much more useless. Elder Pi was speechless. What did he need the meridian opening pill for? The Hidden House Pi was a family that trained in physical martial arts. Even if their meridians were all destroyed, it wouldn't affect their training. This meridian opening pill was even more useless to them. However, the third place couldn't be chosen, and the first place had to be changed. Therefore, he gave the elixir to Lin Yi in exchange for a meridian unblocking pill. Old Master Pi thought that he could only bet on the next round. Lin Yi wanted this potion for Qintian. Qintian was a spiritual practitioner, and while Lin Yi could help with the spiritual aspect, Lin Yi couldn't help much with the spiritual aspect. This potion from the Hidden House Pi was obviously good stuff, and House Wu wouldn't be able to get it. After the bets were distributed, the elders brought their children back to their rooms to rest and prepare for the next round of the competition. The time for the second match was set to be in the evening, which was after dinner. Therefore, the elders of the various families had to go back and give instructions. After all, the Hidden Zhao family had failed miserably in the first match. The other aristocratic families also had to pay attention and be extremely cautious in the following matches to avoid any more accidents. Everyone had their own things to do, and Elder Zhao wasn't in a good mood. Naturally, he didn't host a banquet. Instead, he ordered the kitchen to prepare some exquisite dishes and sent them to the rooms of the hidden houses. Haha, boss, today was so satisfying. When Han Xiaopa returned to the guest room, he started shouting excitedly. I saw that Zhao Qibing's car seemed to have been modified, and I was so worried that boss would lose. Who would have thought that Zhao Qibing would be so enraged by the heavens? Even the heavens are helping us, blowing out his tires. Ha ha. Enraged by the heavens. Lin Yi smiled. His car went through a strict inspection before the race. How could it be that easy to get a flat tire? Ah. Han Xiaopa paused, and a strange light flashed in his eyes. He seemed to have understood something. Could it be, Xiaopa, it's good to know some things. Han Tianba waved his hand to stop Han Xiaopa from continuing. Yes, yes. Han Xiaopa nodded excitedly. He was more confident in Lin Yi's victory now. What's the next round? Lin Yi asked. I don't know yet. Han Tianba smiled helplessly. I'm afraid the other hidden families already know and have made preparations. As for us, the hidden Han family, we won't know until the very last moment of the competition. These people are all on guard against us, especially after Mr. Lin appeared. It doesn't matter. Lin Yi was just asking casually. Since there was no news, Lin Yi closed his eyes and started practicing after dinner. It was 7 at night, and a disciple of the hidden house Zhao rushed over. Is Elder Han here? Emissary, the competition is about to start, right? Elder Han asked as he walked out of the guest room. Yes, the second round is a hidden weapon dodging competition. Elder Han, please bring the participating family members to the meeting hall. The disciple of the Zhao family said. All right. Han Tianba responded and looked at Lin Yi. After all, the decision to participate in the hidden weapon dodging competition was not up to him, but to Lin Yi. Mr. Lin. Let's go. Lin Yi said calmly. Take any of the treasures we won earlier to bet. This. All right. Han Tianba wanted to say that these things belonged to Lin Yi, so he didn't have to worry about the bet. The Han family had already prepared it, but since Lin Yi said so, he let it go. The hidden house of Han could compensate Lin Yi in other ways anyway, so 1 or 2 treasures wouldn't make a difference. In fact, the things that Lin Yi won from the racing bets weren't very useful to him, so Lin Yi didn't mind using them to bet. On the way, Lin Yi asked, is there a winner for this hidden weapon dodging competition? Are there other families that specialize in this? That's right. Han Tianba nodded and explained. The ancestors of the hidden Tang family were a branch of the Tang sect. The Tang sect is proficient in hidden weapons and poisons, so the hidden Tang family is naturally very good at it. This hidden weapon dodging competition is 100% set up for the hidden Tang family, and they definitely have the confidence to win. Lin Yi nodded and didn't say anything else. Han Tianba, Han Xiaope, and Lin Yi went all the way to the meeting hall of the Zhao family. As expected, it was the same this time. Other than the three of them, the other hidden family's elders and children were all present, but they were the last ones. Chapter 2091. Of course, this hidden weapon isn't a real hidden weapon. After all, this is a trial for the descendants of each family. It's not a gamble of life and death. Therefore, we'll use metal balls as our hidden weapons. Everyone here is a fighter, so the metal balls won't harm your life. However, it will still hurt a lot. If you can't take it anymore, you can leave early. Hidden weapons are fired randomly by a specialized hidden weapon dodging machine. There's no pattern to it. The firing position of the metal balls is randomly generated by the computer. If someone is afraid of cheating, they can choose to regenerate or manually adjust the trajectory after the computer generates it. This is to prevent cheating. Every family head and sect leader has the right to choose to regenerate the trajectory. In order to prevent people from suspecting us of tampering with the training machine, just like the car race in the afternoon. Some people suspected that Qibing's car was modified. This time, we won't deliberately fix the position of each machine. Everyone can choose randomly, and you can propose to exchange positions. This afternoon was an accident. Qibing's driving skills are not a problem. If he didn't crash, he would definitely get first place. Since there are people who doubt it, then you can choose your position. Old Zhao's words were completely targeted at Han Tianba. This hidden weapon dodging competition wasn't about taking advantage of loopholes. The descendants of the hidden Tang family studied hidden weapon shooting and dodging since they were young. Their skills were top-notch. They could win without cheating, so there was no need to cheat at all. An explanation is a cover-up. You're exposing yourself. Han Tianba snorted and said, since we can choose, then we'll choose first. Mr. Lin, you first. Since Elder Zhao had spoken up to this point, Lin Yi, naturally, could tell that the Zhao didn't want to play any tricks. He didn't really pick anything, and walked into the firing range of one of the weapons training machines. He stood there. At this time, the other disciples also walked out and found their own seats. Next was to generate the trajectory and path of the hidden weapon. With old Zhao's order, the hidden weapon training machine started to work. To be honest, although Lin Yi had received relatively strict assassin training when he was young, and he had also been exposed to hidden weapons training, Lin Yi wasn't specialized in this. With so many iron balls, Lin Yi was confident in dodging most of them, but he wasn't sure if he could dodge all of them. Lin Yi frowned. Was he going to admit defeat this round? He turned his head to look at the representative of the hidden Tang family. When the representative saw Lin Yi, he smiled and nodded at him. Lin Yi was baffled by this Tang family contestant's smile. Lin Yi could tell that the smile wasn't one of mockery, nor was it one of provocation. It was a kind smile. But, how could he hide the friendly smiles of the Tang family's disciples? Was that even possible? Lin Yi found it unbelievable. Frowning slightly, Lin Yi suddenly realized that this hidden Tang family disciple looked very familiar. Could it be that he had seen him before? Was it during the Ice Palace's trial? That didn't seem to be the case. Lin Yi remembered that when he registered his name and bet, this Tang family disciple was called Tang Yuyu. However, Lin Yi didn't know what Tang Yuyu's intentions were. However, as the hidden weapons training machine's alarm sounded, Lin Yi focused and stared at the hidden weapons dodging machine without blinking. Suddenly, the jade on Lin Yi's chest emitted a warning signal. Although it was very weak, Lin Yi was stunned. Right, the jade could warn me. How could I forget? Lin Yi subconsciously dodged to the side, and the jade's warning signal disappeared. With this discovery, Lin Yi was overjoyed. That was great. If he stood at the place where the hidden weapons were about to be fired, the jade would warn him. However, if he stood at a place where there was no danger, the jade wouldn't warn him. As he was thinking, the hidden weapons training machine started to fire metal balls, and Lin Yi's footsteps started to move. When it came to dodging, Lin Yi's movement was still very fast. Especially with the jade's warning, Lin Yi didn't even look at the direction of the metal balls. He completely closed his eyes and started to walk around the ground. Anyway, as long as the jade didn't warn him, Lin Yi would stand there. After another warning, he would run away. Repeating this cycle, Lin Yi successfully dodged all the metal balls. At this time, many of the participating disciples were hit by the metal balls. Although it wasn't very painful, the number on the electronic screen was increasing. Every time they were hit, the number would increase by 1. At the moment, the only ones who hadn't been hit by the projectiles were Lin Yi and Tang Yuyu. Boss, you can do it. Han Xiaopa clenched his fist and said in his heart. His eyes were filled with excitement. He didn't expect Lin Yi to be so good at dodging hidden weapons. The most amazing thing was that although Tang Yuyu was also dodging, there were a few close calls and he was almost hit by the metal balls. His forehead was already covered in cold sweat. Looking at Lin Yi, he had his eyes closed and was calm, as if he didn't care at all. He seemed to be walking around the field randomly, but upon closer inspection, there was a pattern. Lin Yi seemed to be able to predict the future. Before the metal balls were fired, Lin Yi was already standing in a safe place. Every time, he would always be able to kill the danger before it happened. In fact, Lin Yi was a little flustered at the beginning, just like a blind cat trying to catch a mouse. But after a long time, he got used to it and found the pattern in which he dodged. The jade pendant's warning signal had a difference in strength. If he dodged slightly to the left or right, the warning signal would be different. If the left was stronger and the right was weaker, it meant that the more he dodged to the right, the less danger there was. Naturally, Lin Yi dodged to the right. After finding the pattern, Lin Yi became even more relaxed. It was as if he was taking a stroll. Every step he took was right through the gaps of the hidden weapons. Not a single metal ball could touch Lin Yi, not even the risk of brushing past him. Grandfather Tang, who was watching the match from the outside, was originally full of confidence. But when he saw Lin Yi's actions, his face suddenly turned gloomy. Even Tang Yuyu would find it hard to dodge all the hidden weapons training device. In today's competition, Tang Yuyu had already performed exceptionally well. Up until now, he hadn't been hit by a single metal ball. If this was any other time, he would have been hit by 1 or 2. But the results of 1 or 2 hits were still much better than the other participants. Chapter 2092. Translator, Nyoibo Studio Editor, Nyoibo Studio. Furthermore, there were already people who couldn't take it anymore and surrendered. They had already been hit 200 to 300 times, which meant that they were at the bottom of the competition. There was no need for them to continue taking the hits, so they might as well take the initiative to surrender. Although they were all contestants, getting hit by a few metal balls was fine, but getting hit too many times would still hurt. Not everyone from the Golden Clock Gate was not afraid of pain, so who would continue to endure? Bang! Just as Grandfather Tang was getting anxious, Tang Yuyu was finally hit by a metal ball. Grandfather Tang's heart instantly turned cold. On the other hand, Lin Yi was still so relaxed and calm, as if he wasn't dodging hidden weapons at all, but just taking a stroll. He still maintained a good score of 0! Looks like boss is going to get first place again. Han Xiaope saw that there wasn't much time left in the competition and said with a laugh. Of course, Mr. Lin is the boss of the hidden Han family. He will definitely help us. Han Tianba nodded without hiding anything. Whether it was Old Master Zhao or Old Master Yu, they all frowned. When did this Lin Yi get involved with the Han family? How did he become the boss of the hidden Han family? This way, when dealing with the hidden Han family in the future, they would have to worry about Lin Yi. This news made everyone very unhappy, but in the end, everyone's gaze fell on the Qianshan Gate's leader. This gate leader was confident that he could get rid of Lin Yi, which meant that after the Hidden House Summit, Lin Yi would no longer exist. When that time came, it wouldn't be impossible to deal with the hidden Han family. Bang! Tang Yuyu hit another ball, causing Grandfather Tang's face to turn even uglier. Originally, he was hoping that Lin Yi could also hit a ball, so that the two of them could end in a draw and each of them could bet half the money. That wasn't too bad, but Tang Yuyu had already hit 2 balls, and Lin Yi still hadn't hit a single one. This made Grandfather Tang want to go crazy. Fuck! What was wrong with this Lin Yi? Could he be an all-rounder? Previously, he was good at racing, and now he's also good at dodging hidden weapons. It can't be so coincidental, right? Old Master Zhao was unperturbed. This round had nothing to do with his Zhao family. One of the 2 children who had given up after hitting the most balls was from the Zhao family. The Zhao family had never done such training before, so it was normal that they could not avoid it. Since they had already given up, it didn't matter who won or lost. With a sharp ring of the bell, the hidden weapon dodging competition ended. Lin Yi stopped. His score was still 0. Congratulations, boss. Han Xiaope waited until the match was over before he dared to shout. Previously, he was afraid that he would affect Lin Yi and distract Lin Yi, so even though he was excited, he did not dare to shout. This thing is too simple. It's not challenging at all, Lin Yi said calmly. In the past, I used to use bullets to practice dodging. Lin Yi's words were not exaggerated. However, even though Lin Yi used bullets to practice dodging, it was not as fast as a metal ball. Otherwise, even if Lin Yi had the jade pendant, he would not be able to escape unscathed amidst the rain of bullets. Originally, Grandfather Tang was still unconvinced. However, after hearing Lin Yi's training method, he immediately became listless. Using bullets to practice dodging. Even the Tang family would not dare to do that. No wonder Lin Yi did not even hit a single ball. If it was a real bullet, 1 hit would be enough to kill him. Hidden Han family wins, score 0. In second place, Hidden Tang family, score 2. In third place, Qianshan sect, score 24. Old Master Zhao calmly announced the results of the competition. The difference between first and second place was not too big. However, the difference between third place was much bigger. The reason why Qianshan sect got third place was because the disciples of Qianshan sect often hung out with spirit beasts and trained their agility. Lin Yi kept the bet and glanced at the bets for second and third place. He sighed in his heart. Why did the things he needed always end up in the hands of second and third place? Hidden Tang family's bet was a poison prevention pearl. The pearl was white and transparent, but if it was placed in poisoned water or food, it would change color. The stronger the poison, the darker the color. Of course, this poison prevention pearl was only effective against normal poisons. If it was something special, like the deadly 7 herbs poison Pinliang put in the school cafeteria, it would be ineffective. That was because the deadly 7 herbs poison was made up of 7 herbs. 1 herb was not poisonous, but when put together, it would be poisonous. So, no matter how powerful the poison prevention pearl was, it would not be able to detect this type of poison. However, it was a good treasure to use against normal poisons. Lin Yi planned to get it for Miss and Shu. If they offended too many people, they would have a few life-saving treasures in their hands if someone wanted to harm them. The treasure that Qianshan sect took out was also a pearl, but it was registered as a 100-year spirit beast essence Niden. Although Lin Yi didn't know what this essence Niden was for, Lin Yi already had one in his hand. It might be useful. Although this essence Niden was smaller than the one in Lin Yi's hand, Lin Yi still wanted it. Old Tang, do you have anything that you want to exchange? Lin Yi glanced at Old Tang. Although he didn't have a good impression of Old Tang, Lin Yi had a good impression of Tang Yuyu. He didn't know why, but it was just a feeling. That was why Lin Yi took the initiative to ask. Old Tang did have something that he wanted from Lin Yi's pile of things. According to their agreement, this competition was won by the Hidden House Tang. In fact, if it weren't for Lin Yi's appearance, no other house would be a match for Tang Yuyu. So, the blood centipede from the Hidden House Yu was very important to Old Tang. The blood centipede was very rare, and it was a good ingredient for making poisons. It was what the Hidden House Tang needed. However, Old Tang was afraid that Old Zhao would be tricked like in the car race, so he hesitated. Should he bring it up? However, in the end, Old Tang still brought it up. It was better to be safe than sorry. If Lin Yi gave up and didn't exchange the blood centipede for the treasure in his hand and the Qianshan sect's treasure, then it would be a great loss. Chapter 2093. Then I want that lifeless fruit. Xian Mountain Gate leader Wu pointed at one of the treasures in Lin Yi's pile. Okay. Lin Yi handed the fruit to Wu without hesitation. The lifeless fruit of Vientian wasn't meant for human consumption, and it couldn't be used to make medicine. It was meant for spirit beasts to eat. After the spirit beasts ate it, their strength would increase a little, so it wasn't very useful to Lin Yi. This little bit of energy wasn't enough for General Wei Wu and Skybolt Pig to break through to the Earth class. It would be a waste to eat it, and Lin Yi didn't need this bit of energy to help them break through. Thank you. Complex emotions flashed through his eyes, but he immediately made up his mind. The underworld was like this. The strong preyed on the weak, and there were many cases of people biting the hand that fed them. Whoever was more capable would have the final say. Since House Xiao, House Yu, and the Golden Clock sect had decided to give him 3 treasures, he still decided to kill Lin Yi. From his point of view, it was just a trade between him and Lin Yi. 1 for 1, he didn't owe Lin Yi anything. In fact, Lin Yi also had his eyes on the item in Wu's hand. It didn't matter what he exchanged, he didn't have any intention of showing mercy. The bet was accepted, and the exchange was over. All the elders and sect leaders went back to rest. Today's competition was over, and the rest of the competition would continue tomorrow morning. Boss, when sect leader Wu was exchanging the primordial essence inner core with you, his eyes were flickering. It seems like there's something wrong. Han Xiaopa's observation was also very detailed, and he noticed something amiss. I can see it. Lin Yi said, but who cares, I didn't lose anything. That lifeless fruit is useless to me. Boss, you don't want to raise spiritual beasts. Han Xiaopa was a little surprised. The lifeless fruit was a good thing. All families with spiritual beasts needed it, but Lin Yi exchanged it for a spiritual beast's inner Dan. It was a little confusing. Raising spirit beasts. Lin Yi nodded and said, I have 2 spirit beasts at home. Then you don't need the lifeless manifestation fruit to help them increase their strength? Han Xiaopa asked curiously. Hee, what do you think? Lin Yi looked at Han Xiaopa with a faint smile. Ah. Han Xiaopa suddenly remembered how he had risen from Golden Class mid-phase to Earth Class late-phase peak. So that's how it is, I understand now, he exclaimed. Han Tianba didn't understand the riddle between Lin Yi and Han Xiaopa, but he was old and experienced. If Lin Yi didn't want to explain, he wouldn't ask. In any case, he was happy enough. He had won 2 matches in a row on the first day of the tournament. These hidden families and sects still wanted to take advantage of his hidden Han family. Hee, going for wool and coming home shorn, right? By the way, do you know what this vitality inner elixir is used for? Lin Yi asked. Boss, you don't know. Han Xiaopa was taken aback. He had seen Lin Yi exchange the vitality inner elixir and thought that Lin Yi knew what it was used for. I don't know, I'm just curious. Lin Yi didn't tell him that he had another vitality inner elixir that looked even bigger than this one. Tell me, what can this thing be used for? Man, I don't know either. Han Xiaopa smiled bitterly and said, but I heard that when making some high-level elixirs, adding the vitality inner elixir can increase the success rate, or is it necessary? It seems like blacksmiths can use it too. I don't know the specifics, I don't have any information on this. I see. Lin Yi nodded. He planned to go back and read Zhang Liju's notes when he had time. There were many elixir recipes in there. Lin Yi hadn't even learned how to concoct elixirs before, so naturally, he had no interest in studying those recipes. But when he had time, he would take a look and see if the vitality inner elixir could be used for concocting elixirs. Lin Yi, Han Tianba, and Han Xiaopa went back to rest. However, the elders of the hidden houses and the masters of the sects had returned and were now sitting in the hidden house Zhao's meeting hall. Everyone, let's talk. Are we just going to forget about what happened today? The one who was the most dissatisfied was Elder Zhao. As the organizer, he didn't get any benefits. In exchange for a 500-year thin lotus flower, he was tricked by Lin Yi. What else can we do? Send a thief to steal those things back. Elder Tang was troubled as well. He was a loser today as well, but he didn't lose as badly as House Zhao. Anyway, Lin Yi is going to die sooner or later. It's just a matter of a few days. Elder Yu said faintly, right, Headmaster Wa? That's right. Headmaster Wa nodded, I don't have much of a relationship with that Lin Yi. Today, it's just a fair trade. Don't worry, I will do what I say. Doormaster was promise made old Zhao and old Tang feel much better. If Lin Yi were to die, they would be able to vent their anger. Let's not talk about these things in the past. What I'm worried about now is the remaining matches. The one who spoke was Elder Pai. Lin Yi had won 2 matches in a row, and he couldn't sit still anymore. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.